Chapter. Call the wind, summon the rain, magic arsenal, mountain crumble, land collapses, dark moon, clear skies. These were the 6 great spells of Celestial Emperor Bai Fan. Wang Lin had already learned the first 3, and Xianxia said that the latter 3 were far more powerful. They all contained heaven-shattering power. Mountain crumble was the first of the 3 latter spells. The intent was to take the power of a collapsing mountain, but although it sounded easy, it was extremely complex. Mountains have souls, so if only the mountain crumbled but not the soul, then the power would be very ordinary. Only when both the body and soul crumbled could the power of mountain crumbles be displayed. In a place filled with mountains, one could use the power of mountain crumbles, but that was only the first step. The real mountain crumbles would be like Xianxia used it before, where there were no mountains. To form a mountain with your divine sense and then inject celestial origin energy to form its soul. The power of mountain crumbles was when both the celestial origin energy and divine sense crumbled, borrowing this power to integrate with the world and make those countless mountains real. Then the crumble would have the power of a heaven-shaking spell. The key of mountain crumbles wasn't the crumble of the mountain and its soul, or forming the mountain with one mind, or infusing it with celestial origin energy. The key was making it all real. How to make an illusion real, that was the focus of mountain crumbles. It was also the most difficult part, looking at the eruption of the distant volcano and feeling the crumble of the volcano below him. Wang Lin opened his eyes. There was a hint of confusion in them. Wanger, what exactly is true, what is false? No one could answer Wang Lin's question. He silently looked into the distance, and he felt the fluctuations of the world and gradually frowned. How to make a mountain made of divine sense real? Xianxia didn't tell Wang Lin about this. The comprehension Xianxia had left with Wang Lin was also very vague. It seemed Xianxia's intent was for Wang Lin to comprehend it himself and not pass it down as an inheritance. True-false, it is like life and death, karmic cause and karmic effect. Wang Lin closed his eyes and continued to think. The volcano below him erupted even more violently and caused even more distant volcanoes to erupt. In an instant, Wang Lin was surrounded by endless magma. Time seemed to last forever. After an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin opened his eyes, but they were still filled with confusion. He placed his right hand on the coffin and made it turn into a ray of light that disappeared. Wang Lin stood up and unexpectedly jumped into the mouth of the volcano. Dense magma spray out, but it wasn't able to stop Wang Lin. He quickly moved through the lava and soon reached the depths of the volcano. He sat down in the lotus position, then his hands formed a seal and he opened his arms. His eyes shined brightly and then he closed them once more. I don't care if it is true or false. If there is nothing true in the world, there is nothing false. True and false are just 2 sides of a coin, and they are linked just like life and death. If there was no life, then there would be no death. If there is no karmic cause, then there is naturally no karmic effect. Moji said earlier that all domains are formed by the state of my mind. Everything appears as we will it. The moment Wang Lin's eyes closed, all the fire origin energy inside his body charged out into the lava and slowly merged with the lava. At this moment, it was as if he was lava. After fusing with the lava, Wang Lin's fire origin energy spread out and began fusing with the volcano around the lava. Finally, he became one with the volcano too. This didn't end. As his fire origin energy spread out, the lava, the volcano, the black smoke, and all the fire origin energy had integrated into one. At this moment, Wang Lin felt an ancient aura from this volcano. This ancient aura was the soul of this volcano. When he felt the soul of the volcano, Wang Lin's origin soul came out and fused with the volcano once more. At this instant, Wang Lin felt like he was the volcano. The ancient volcano soul allowed Wang Lin to see various scenes when he fused with it. He saw a burning planet, and as the earth trembled, a mountain was gradually born. The mountain was filled with fire origin energy. As time passed, this fire origin energy became lava, and finally, when it reached a limit, the top of the mountain collapsed and dense lava gushed out. He saw how the volcano gradually calmed down after the eruption, how fierce beasts that could survive here came by. He also saw the vermilion bird divine sect disciples flying by. As the heat waves blew by, the seeds of some plants that could survive here flew by. Red grass gradually grew, withered, and grew again. This cycle continued for an unknown amount of time, before the earth trembled once more and the volcano erupted again. Tens of thousands of years passed by Wang Lin's eyes in a flash. Wang Lin gradually forgot his origin intention and his identity as a cultivator. It was as if he had really become the volcano, become the soul of the volcano. The eruptions of the volcano were like him venting. At this moment, Wang Lin unconsciously gained enlightenment. I am the volcano, my wrath is the eruption. With this enlightenment, Wang Lin's divine sense began to spread. Soon, all the surrounding volcanoes were within his divine sense. His divine sense spread out and fused with each of the volcanoes. Even more scenes filled Wang Lin's mind. He saw even more volcanic eruptions and felt even more of the wrath of the volcanoes. His divine sense slowly spread out until it covered all the volcanoes on the planet. At this moment, it was as if he had thousands of avatars, and each one of them was a volcano. This is an elder of the vermilion bird sect suddenly opened his eyes with doubt. However, he soon looked at the volcano Wang Lin was at. It's the Divine Emperor. Although his aura was ancient, as an elder at the Nirvana Shatterer stage, he was naturally able to distinguish it. However, he was still shocked. What shocked him was that although it was the aura of the Divine Emperor, it was very different from the aura of the little cultivator he remembered. Earlier, Wang Lin was mere a Nirvana Scryer cultivator that had cultivated for less than 2,000 years. Although this group of elders had acknowledged Wang Lin on the surface, they were a bit unwilling deep down. However, the aura felt so ancient that he felt like a junior before this aura. Horrified, the old man immediately flew into the air. He immediately felt that the 3 other elders on the planet had also come out. The other 3 were also shocked. Apparently, they had made the same discovery as the first old man. At this moment, all the members of the Vermilion Bird Divine sect awakened from their cultivation. They could clearly feel that at that moment it seemed like a very ancient divine sense had swept by. If that was it, it wouldn't be much. The 4 elders would be been shocked, but it would not affect them too much. However, what happened next made the 4 of them suck in breaths of cold air. This divine sense swept by and covered the entire planet. It seemed all the volcanoes on the planet had awakened and erupted at the same time. The entire planet seemed to be rumbling, and this earth-shattering sound replaced all other sounds in the world. At this moment, the ancient aura inside that divine sense increased greatly. It was as if the ancient auras had been gathered from all the volcanoes to create this power of time. The sky was covered in black fog and bright red lava flowed on the ground. At this moment, the expressions of the 4 elders changed greatly. All disciples of the Vermilion Bird Divine sect immediately leave this cultivation planet. One of the elders roared like thunder. Soon, the Vermilion Bird Divine sect disciples all flew into the air. The 4 elders also charged out while carrying all the people on the planet. Everyone was panicking, and most of them didn't know what was going on. The 4 elders' expressions were extremely gloomy. They were filled with dissatisfaction toward the new Divine Emperor that had caused this. However, right when their dissatisfaction appeared, that divine sense suddenly began to spread. It swept past the Vermilion Bird Divine sect members and spread across the burning starfield. As the divine sense spread out, another planet was surrounded and fused with it. The ancient aura became even stronger. Many Vermilion Bird Divine sect members also flew out from that planet in panic. As the divine sense spread out, all the cultivation planets began to fuse with it. As it grew stronger and stronger, an unimaginably powerful divine sense appeared in the burning starfield. All the Vermilion Bird Divine sect members flew out from the cultivation planets. Big Head and others Wang Lin knew did the same. At this moment, a ripple appeared outside the burning starfield the Vermilion Bird sect was located. A person walked out. This person was an old man with white hair wearing a red robe. If Wang Lin saw this person, he would immediately recognize this person as Master Flamespark. The moment Master Flamespark appeared, another ripple echoed and another person walked out. The moment this person appeared, a cold aura spread out. This was a middle-aged man who wore a blue robe and was extremely handsome. However, his face was pale, as if he was dead. But the cultivation fluctuations from this person caused Master Flamespark's pupils to shrink. All Heaven's Master Flamespark, the middle-aged man's cold gaze swept by. One of the Corpse Sect's 9 kings, I just don't know which one. Master Flamespark's voice was calm, but he stared at the middle-aged man. International Children's Day brings tears and wishing for the like button for the video chapter. At this moment, all of the cultivation planets within the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect were enveloped by that divine sense. An ancient aura filled the entire starfield, and all the elders were greatly shocked. Although their cultivation levels were high, they couldn't imagine what spell this new divine emperor was cultivating to reach such a terrifying level. Even with their cultivation levels and insight, it was understandable that they couldn't understand the power of Celestial Emperor Baifan's spells. Wang Lin's divine sense originally couldn't cover this far, but at this moment, he had forgotten everything and became the souls of the volcanoes. He also fused with the souls of each planet, and borrowed their power to spread out. That's how the current situation was able to occur. The root of all of this was still Celestial Emperor Baifan's Mountain Crumble spell. At this moment, Wang Lin's divine had gathered the souls of all the cultivation planets within the star field. The ancient aura people felt within this divine sense made it feel like they would decay. At this moment, all the members of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, including the elders, were part of Wang Lin's divine sense. All of them could clearly feel this aura, and all of the elders were extremely shocked. The discontent in the hearts of the first 4 elders who noticed this had already disappeared and was replaced with the shock of what happened after. If there was no karmic cause and no karmic effect, then there would be no karma. If there was no life, there would be no death. Without life and death, everything would be eternal. If there is true, then there is no false. True and false are separated by just a thought. An ancient voice came from the divine sense and echoed in everyone's ears. So it is like this, it is just a thought. No wonder senior brother Qing Shui didn't leave any details. Once you understand, you understand. As the thought echoed, Wang Lin seemed to awaken. The moment he awakened, the burning starfield suddenly moved. The souls of the planets came out, and all the volcanoes on the planets erupted at the same time. The eruptions of all the volcanoes in the starfield caused a thunderous rumble to echo across the starfield. It was at this moment that Master Flamespark and the third king of the corpse sect stepped into the burning starfield. The moment they entered, the third king of the corpse sect's eyes suddenly shined and were filled with disbelief. With his cultivation, he immediately felt that this starfield was covered in an unbelievably large divine sense. The power of the divine sense was so heaven-shaking that even he couldn't help but gasp. The way he saw it, it was as if he wasn't facing a person, but the cultivation planets that had existed for countless years. This ancient aura made even him feel like a junior. Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. The first thought that appeared in the middle-aged man's mind was the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor that he hadn't met yet, but he felt it wasn't right. From what Li Yingji had reported, the new Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor was someone that hadn't cultivated for a very long time. Could it be the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor? The middle-aged man's pupils shrank, and he became very cautious. Master Flamespark's expression also changed greatly after he entered the starfield. He immediately felt the giant divine sense that shocked his mind. This is Master Flamespark's eyes revealed unimaginable shock. In his view, the power of this divine sense couldn't be described in words. It wasn't something a cultivator could possess. The moment they felt this divine sense, Wang Lin naturally felt Master Flamespark and the middle-aged man. His divine sense suddenly moved toward the two of them, the movement of his divine sense causing a thunderous rumble to echo across the burning starfield. Master Flamespark, a message came from this divine sense and echoed across the starfield. Master Flamespark gasped. This divine sense felt familiar, and he even had a guess as to who it belonged to, but he couldn't believe it. His expression became serious. Your Excellency is Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. Wang Lin's divine sense caused thunder to roar across the starfield. You Wang Lin. Master Flamespark's eyes widened, and the shock in his eyes became monstrous. Not only him, but the third king of the corpse sect was the same. This must be someone from the corpse sect. Wang Lin's divine sense slowly sent out a message. His divine sense stirred up the sea of flames and slowly surrounded the middle-aged man and Master Flamespark. The middle-aged man said, "This old man is the corpse sect's third king." Although he looked calm and it was impossible to see his emotions, the dread he felt from the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect in his heart deepened. He originally came with the intent to observe the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. but now there was no need to observe. The middle-aged man clasped his hands and slowly said, "A few days ago, my corpse sect S Junior Li Yingji brought back a jade. This old man came to ask where the location of the thing recorded inside the jade is. If the Divine Emperor tells me, my corpse sect would be deeply indebted." Master Flamespark suppressed the shock in his heart and also asked, "Wang Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, Li Yunzi also brought a jade to the Thunder Celestial Temple. My question is the same. Where is the location described in the jade?" With Master Flamespark's cultivation, he was vaguely able to see some clues as to why Wang Lin's divine sense was able to become so powerful. However, a spell that allowed one's divine sense to merge so perfectly with all the planets in the starfield terrified him. The mysteriousness of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect increased even more in Master Flamespark's heart. "I can tell you the location of the place in the jade. However, it is filled with danger. Whether you guys go or not is up to you." As Wang Lin's divine sense echoed, countless specks of light appeared before Master Flamespark and the middle-aged man to form a star map. This star map clearly revealed planet Suzaku. After flashing for a few breaths of time, it gradually disappeared. Master Flamespark's eyes lit up and said, "Planet Suzaku?" The middle-aged man smiled and calmly said, "Divine Emperor, you must have other plans if you revealing such an important piece of information now. Everyone has their own needs. I am mere borrowing a knife to kill the person guarding that corpse." Wang Lin sent out a message. There was no need to hide it from the corpse sect in all heaven. "Good. The Divine Emperor is indeed candid. My corpse sect will agree to this matter." The middle-aged man didn't expect Wang Lin's answer to be like this. After laughing, he looked at where Wang Lin's divine sense was coming from before clasping his hands and leaving. Master Flamespark pondered a bit. After the middle-aged man left, he looked at Wang Lin with a complex gaze and sighed. "I underestimated you. I didn't think Wang Lin. Forget the fact that I am the master of the Thunder Celestial Temple, and you are the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. How did I treat you?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and sent out a message. "Not bad." Master Flamespark's eyes narrowed and he asked, "You are indeed being truthful." "Wang Lin, I just want to know if what you said in the jade was true, or are you not sure?" "Senior Master Flamespark, I won't deceive you. The information in the jade is true." Master Flamespark nodded and no longer spoke. He clasped his hands and left the burning starfield. After both of them were gone, the divine sense that surrounded the entire starfield collapsed into countless pieces that dissipated within the starfield. The parts that belonged to the planet's souls all returned to their respective planets. When the divine sense collapsed, it affected the origin energy in the starfield and shocked all the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect members. The volcanoes had stopped erupting on the planet Wang Lin was on. Inside the largest volcano, Wang Lin slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were very bright, and the light penetrated the lava inside the volcano. My domain started with the life and death cycle, and later evolved into karma. Now, borrowing the comprehension of mountain crumbles, I caught a glimpse of true and false with a thought. My karma domain was complete and has broken through the Nirvana Scryer stage and entered the Nirvana Cleanser stage. My domain also evolved into true and false due to comprehending mountain crumbles. This true and false is different from illusions. This is a grand Tao. Wang Lin stood up and with one step ripples appeared in the lava. The next instant, Wang Lin appeared outside. He looked at the world and gradually smiled. Nirvana Cleanser. Wang Lin took a deep breath and he could clearly feel the difference in his body. Before, the fire origin energy inside his body had reached a limit, but now with a thought, all the fire origin energy around him surged into his body. As the origin energy rushed into his body, Wang Lin's right hand reached out and a crack appeared before him. This crack wasn't stable. When it appeared, it seemed like it could break at any time. However, endless origin energy came out of Wang Lin's hand and charged into the crack. It started to expand, and popping sounds echoed inside the crack. The space inside the crack became larger, and as more origin energy went inside, it became more stable. Finally, it reached a limit, and it became stable enough that it wouldn't easily collapse. There would be no need to use a bag of holding anymore. Wang Lin smiled as he slapped his bag of holding, and everything inside flew out into the crack. Soon, the bag of holding was empty, and Wang Lin rubbed it between his hands to turn the bag into dust. His right hand pointed at the crack to leave behind his divine sense imprint. Then he waved his hand and the crack closed and disappeared. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's expression changed, and his eyes became cold. His entire person became cold. He took a step and appeared in the sky. He saw a mosquito beast struggle to fly toward him. The mosquito beast was completely purple, but it was covered in blood. It looked very dispirited and was obviously seriously injured. If not for the single thought of returning to meet its master, it would have already died. In particular, there was a hideous wound on the mosquito's back that emitted green gas. Even its long mouth was broken. When the mosquito beast saw Wang Lin, it let out a mournful cry and flew toward him. Wang Lin's right hand hit the mosquito beast's back and the green gas dissipated. Then his left hand reached at the void, causing a crack to appear. He immediately took out a large amount of pills to feed the mosquito beast. At the same time, his divine sense went into the mosquito beast's mind. As he searched its memories, Wang Lin's expression became gloomy and a monstrous killing intent erupted. They recording death. Quickly approaching 3,900 words, Leo fierce as a tiger. Wishing for sharing, for likes on the video, for channel followers. Chapter 1103, Cloud Sea. In the center area of the Alliance, there was a star field filled with rubble. There were 3 youths in yellow cautiously moving forward. The 3 of them were in a sorry state. One of them had a large wound on his right leg that revealed the bones. Although it was bandaged, it was a bloody mess, and his face was extremely pale. The other 2 were also injured, especially the person in the middle, who was holding the incense. He had a hole to the right of his chest, and blood occasionally bubbled out of it. Although he was holding on, another person had to support him. Behind him was a group of about a dozen mosquito beasts. The mosquito beasts were lightly injured, but it didn't affect their movement. Their red eyes were locked onto the 3 people before them, but due to the incense, they followed involuntarily. Damn it, we let that child giant mosquito beast king get away. If we can bring it back to Cloud Sea, we can exchange it with the Dark Star sect for an extremely precious Heaven-esque blight liquid. The young man with the wound on his leg cursed, and he was frustrated by the situation. The young man with the hole in his chest shouted, "Shut up! That mosquito beast king must have been raised by someone. Only a powerful cultivator in the Alliance would be able to tame these giant mosquito beasts that rampages across the Cloud Sea. The 3 of us must meet with the Elder as soon as possible. Otherwise, once that cultivator finds us, the consequences will be unimaginable." After everything had gone so smoothly, I didn't think the giant mosquito beast king would suddenly begin to struggle after we left the eastern region. This caused all the mosquito beasts to begin to rebel. If we didn't use up 2 mosquito soul incenses, I fear the 3 of us wouldn't have been able to lead these giant mosquitoes away and would have been eaten by them. Unfortunately, the giant mosquito king got away. However, 19 giant mosquito beasts are enough for the 3 of us to get great benefits. Even within the Heaven Gate sect, our status will immediately be different. The last youth in yellow looked at the mosquito beast with greedy eyes. As the 3 flew, they gradually entered the depths of the star field filled with rubble. There was an area covered in a green light screen. The 3 of them each took out a jade and bit their tongues to spit out blood on the jades. At that instant, the 3 jades shined brightly and flew toward the light screen. Ripples appeared on the light screen, and then a vortex formed. The 3 of them charged into the vortex. The more than a dozen mosquito beasts were also sucked in. When they reappeared, the 3 of them and the mosquito beasts were inside the light screen. The 3 of them visibly relaxed. The youth holding the incense said, "It is indeed strange for giant mosquito beasts from my Cloud Sea Star system to appear here. Luckily, there weren't many. If it was a group of tens of thousands like what we saw in the Wind Celestial realm," the youth trembled, and fear filled his eyes. Get it. It is useless to think more about this. We have already checked on the matter the sect has asked us to check. We should leave as soon as possible. I have a bad feeling." The 3 of them looked at each other and continued flying forward. A moment later, a giant formation formed by rubble appeared before them. Bursts of green light came from the large formation. In addition, almost 100 cultivators were moving rubble here and adding them to the large formation. There were 2 old men standing above the large formation. They wore purple and had white hair, but their eyes gave off powerful gazes. The 2 of them were talking in low voices and pointing at the large formation below. The arrival of the 3 of them caught the attention of the people here, but they didn't care too much. However, when their gazes landed on the mosquito beasts behind them, their faces all changed. Some who were more timid and had deep fear of the mosquito beasts exclaimed loudly, giant mosquito beasts! An uproar suddenly occurred, and those almost 100 cultivators stopped what they were doing and stared at the mosquito beasts. The three people in yellow felt very proud of the reaction they got. When the three of them saw these mosquito beasts, they had almost the same expressions. Two rays of purple closed in. It was the two elders. One of their gazes swept past the more than a dozen mosquito beasts, and he shouted at the cultivators, "What is there to look at? Quickly, build the formation." With a shout from the old man, the surrounding cultivators scattered to continue the unfinished work. However, they would occasionally look at the mosquito beasts with greed in their eyes. After the old man finished shouting, he looked at the mosquito beasts with a strange light in his eyes. Then he looked toward the three youths in yellow and asked Sushin, "What is the deal with these giant mosquito beasts?" The youth with injuries on his chest immediately reported everything respectfully. Finally, he hesitated a bit before he talked about what happened on the way here and how the giant mosquito king escaped. After the old man heard this, his expression became gloomy. He looked at the other elder, and their eyes lit up and there was a worried look hidden in their eyes. If these giant mosquitoes have no owner, it doesn't matter, but that chance is almost zero. Can we provoke someone who can raise these giant mosquito beasts? Giant mosquito beasts are worth a lot in the Cloud Sea Star system. These beasts often live in groups of hundreds of thousands, making them very difficult to catch. Even rank 6 or above cultivators would have to spend a lot of trouble to try to capture them. These more than a dozen giant mosquito beasts are worth a huge amount of wealth for my Heaven Gate sect. The two of them looked at each other's eyes and saw the greed and decisiveness in each other's gazes. With the green light screen, it won't be easy for Alliance cultivators to enter. Even if a peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivator came, it would take several days for them to break this formation that was gifted to us by a rank 8 sect. We just need to buy some time to return to the Cloud Sea Star system. If they chase us to the Cloud Sea Star system HMAPAT, we'll make sure they never return. Accelerate the building of the formation. The two of them came to a consensus. The three youths who had brought back the mosquito beasts were filled with excitement. Since the elders had agreed to this matter, they were safe. Once they returned to the sect, there would definitely be rewards for the three of them. The youth with the injured leg laughed with pride. Hey, now I want to see the master of the mosquito beasts come. I want to see how he will try to break the light screen and how he has to watch helplessly as we leave with his mosquito beasts. At this moment, the owner of the mosquito beasts, Wang Lin, raised his hand and his expression became extremely cold. If anyone was familiar with Wang Lin, they would know that he was furious right now. Wang Lin had his own principles. If others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If it wasn't for the fact that Tuo Sen would come hunt him down no matter what, he wouldn't scheme against Tuo Sen. His mosquito beasts hadn't provoked the other party, but they were lured away by them. They had also seriously injured the mosquito beasts, and this touched Wang Lin's bottom line. Wang Lin's right hand mercilessly clenched as he looked at the sky above. When he reached the Nirvana cleanser stage, he felt a hint of divine retribution. However, he was within the Vermilion Bird Divine sect. If divine retribution were to descend, then it could cause unimaginable damage to the Vermilion Bird Divine sect. Even if others could help him, Wang Lin didn't need help right now. He wanted to test how strong his fire and thunder was within this divine retribution. If it was in the past, Wang Lin wouldn't be able to change when the divine retribution would descend. However, after learning the 9 mysterious transformations, he was able to. The moment he reached the Nirvana cleanser stage, he used the 9 mysterious transformations to seal his cultivation at the edge of Nirvana Scryer to hold off the divine retribution. Wang Lin knew that he only needed a thought to truly reach the Nirvana cleanser stage. At that moment, the divine retribution would quickly arrive. He originally planned to leave the Vermilion Bird Divine sect to find a remote place in the eastern region to get through the divine retribution. However, the appearance of his mosquito beast quickly changed Wang Lin's mind. With a wave of his right hand, he put the seriously injured mosquito beast in the crack. Then Wang Lin stepped forward based on the route from the mosquito beast's memories. With this step, ripples appeared before Wang Lin, and he disappeared without a trace. Spatial bending. Ripples appeared in the eastern edge of the Alliance star system. The waves of ripples spread as if a pebble had been tossed into a water. Wang Lin walked out from the center of the ripples filled with cold, killing intent. The surroundings were completely silent as Wang Lin looked around. This was the place where the mosquito beasts and the three cultivators in yellow battled. Killing intent flashed through his eyes as he stepped forward. He then turned into a ray of light, charged forward, and instantly disappeared. Bursts of thunderous roars echoed through the stars as Wang Lin was too fast and created sonic booms. He was wearing a snow-white robe. His right hand reached at the void, and the seriously injured mosquito beast flew out. Wang Lin's pills were all Celestial's pills, so they were all very good. After taking the pills, the mosquito seemed a bit more spirited and its wound stopped bleeding. The moment it appeared, it revealed the same cold gaze as Wang Lin. It looked ahead and let out harsh cries. It was obviously very unwilling. If it wasn't tea for the incense, how could a king of mosquito beasts with more than a dozen mosquitoes be seriously injured by those three small cultivators and even have its subordinates captured? It had never felt this kind of humiliation since it started following Wang Lin. At this moment, with its master nearby, the mosquito beast immediately became energetic. It picked a direction and charged ahead. Wang Lin's expression became gloomy as he followed the mosquito beast, while it tracked its companions. As he moved forward, the anger in his heart turned monstrous. Illusions of miniature volcanoes appeared all around him. Tears streaming long. Wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1104. Divine Retribution. The moment these illusory volcanoes appeared, large amounts of origin energy began to gather within them. As Wang Lin moved, it looked like there was a group of volcanoes following him. If someone saw this scene, they would gasp and be completely shocked. It was just the fact that these volcanoes looked too real. At a glance, you could tell they were false, but if you took a second look, you would feel like you were right next to the volcanoes. They felt too real, and this would affect your mind. The difference between true and false was enough to shake any cultivator below the Nirvana Shatterer stage. Even Nirvana Shatterer cultivators would be affected by this. After all, this was the first of Celestial Emperor Baifan's latter three spells. Mountain crumbles. The anger in Wang Lin's heart manifested in the form of those volcanoes as he followed the mosquito beast. There was a unique scent that mosquito beasts gave off that only their own clan can detect. At this moment, the mosquito beast had a ferocious expression. The scent of his clan members was so strong that there wasn't even a need to carefully search for it to find it. Just like this, the person and beast quickly moved through the star system. After 15 minutes, Wang Lin frowned. After all, the mosquito beast was injured and was slow. If they kept moving at this speed, who knew how long it would take to find the people that stole the mosquito beasts? Moreover, Wang Lin gradually felt the divine retribution getting closer. The seal he had placed using the 9 mysterious transformations had loosened. After all, this was outer space, unlike the Vermilion Bird Divine Sex Starfield, where there was only fire origin energy due to countless years of burning. The origin energy here was extremely mixed, and although his cultivation was sealed, origin energy still entered his body. This origin energy slowly transformed the meridians in his body. Nirvana cleanser cultivators have their bodies transformed by origin energy so that they are more suitable to comprehend law. While pondering, Wang Lin waved his right hand and a crack about 5 feet long appeared. This crack didn't remain in one place, but moved at the same speed as Wang Lin. It was like a small boat quickly gliding across the vast ocean, and it looked very strange. Wang Lin's right hand reached into the crack and took out a yellow talisman. With a thought, this 5-foot crack immediately disappeared. He threw the yellow talisman onto the mosquito beast. The mosquito beast trembled, and then a whirlwind surrounded its body and charged up in the space above. This whirlwind turned earth yellow, and as it rotated, the sound of howling wind appeared. At the same time, a giant bird appeared above the whirlwind and opened its wings. The mosquito beast suddenly let out an earth-shaking cry and moved forward like a bolt of lightning. It was several times faster than before. As a result, the mosquito beast's speed reached a limit, and Wang Lin landed on the mosquito beast. The mosquito beast was very fast now, so fast that Wang Lin could only see the stars in the distance all blur into long lines as he passed by them. This was the speed of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. The mosquito beast never had this kind of speed. Now that it obtained it, It immediately let out loud cries. However, the speed caused it no discomfort as it flew through the stars. There was a group of Alliance cultivators who were given the order to withdraw from the battlefield. They were flying through the star system when they suddenly felt a gust of wind and heard the whistling sound of wind. The wind was so fierce that it immediately swept them apart. They were all aghast at the situation as they stabilized themselves. What is this? It wasn't until now that they heard the sound of the mosquito beast's cry. The sound of the cry was far slower than the speed of the mosquito. The expressions of these cultivators changed greatly. They were too frightened to move. After looking at each other, they immediately left the area. With the mosquito's speed, it didn't take long for it to follow the scent of its kind to the starfield filled with rubble. Even though it was part of the central area, it was very remote. There were very few cultivation planets here, and even those were all abandoned. As a result, almost no cultivators would come here. Seeing the area filled with rubble, the mosquito beast let out a sharp screech and boundless anger filled its eyes. It charged out at the field of rubble, creating a series of popping sounds. All of the rubble that blocked the mosquito beast was smashed into pieces. The mosquito beast charged straight into the field of rubble as if it had gone crazy. As it charged into the depths of the rubble field, it created a series of popping sounds. Inside the green light screen deep within the rubble, the formation being built by almost 100 cultivators was nearing completion. The two elders in purple became even more excited. Once the formation was complete, they would be able to take these giant mosquito beasts back into the Cloud Sea Star system. At that time, their Heaven Gate sect would be able to exchange these giant mosquito beasts for great benefits. The two of them were in a very good mood as they chatted with each other. All the worries they had were gone as the formation was about to be complete. However, just at this time, the giant mosquito beasts that were sealed by the incense suddenly began to screech, even though they had been really calm due to the incense. It wasn't just one of them that was crying. All of the mosquito beasts' eyes turned red, and they began to struggle. This sudden change caught the attention of the two elders in purple, and everyone that was building the formation also looked over. These mosquito beasts seemed to have gone crazy, and they attempted to rush out from the encirclement the incense created. One of the elders in purple said, "Something is wrong." The elder beside him was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed and he turned around. He heard some muffled earth-shattering rumbles coming from the light screen that was protecting them. In an instant, the green light screen flashed non-stop, causing the area to alternate between light and dark. The two elders' expressions immediately became gloomy and they flew ahead. Before they got close, they heard a harsh screech coming from outside the green light screen. The moment this sound entered, the three youths who brought the mosquito beasts back trembled. They immediately recognized that cry as the Mosquito King beast. That person actually came. With the elders here, we might have a chance to capture the Mosquito King. The three of them looked at each other and flew toward the green light screen. Outside the green light screen, the mosquito beast flew at an unimaginable speed and smashed into the light screen with anger. A thunderous rumble echoed through the light screen when he did so. However, the green light screen was very strong, so it didn't budge at all, while the mosquito beast suffered the rebound and was pushed back almost 1,000 feet. If it wasn't for Wang Lin reducing the rebound force, the mosquito beast would have been seriously injured once more. The mosquito beast was filled with unwillingness, and its eyes were filled with killing intent as it began to screech. Wang Lin stood at the side and stared at the green light screen. His expression was very calm as he took a step forward and arrived next to the green light screen. His hand slammed down, and the fire origin energy inside his body rushed out. A sea of flames immediately surrounded the green light screen. The sound of something burning could be heard, but the green light screen didn't dissipate at all. "You're overestimating yourself." A sneer came from inside the green light screen. The two elders in purple had arrived. They looked at Wang Lin with disdain from inside the light screen. Their originally tense minds relaxed when they saw Wang Lin's cultivation level. These two elders weren't Nirvana Shatterer cultivators, or even Peak Nirvana Cleanser cultivators. They were merely at the late stage of Nirvana Cleanser. After all, they weren't real messengers of the Cloud Sea Star system. They had come here through a secret method. Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the sea of flames retreated from the green light screen. His gloomy gaze penetrated the green light screen and landed on the two elders inside. Wang Lin's voice was gloomy as he slowly said, Hand over the mosquito beast and those 3 bold juniors, and I can spare the rest of you." The 2 elders immediately began to laugh. One of them revealed a look of ridicule and said, "I didn't think the Alliance could have an arrogant person like this. To threaten us too with your cultivation level is simply absurd." Although those 2 looked down upon Wang Lin, they were extremely cautious and didn't leave the green light screen. In their eyes, this person wasn't be the master of the mosquito beasts, but a disciple of some sort who was here to lure them out. The real powerful cultivator had to be hiding outside the green light shield. Although their divine senses found nothing, this just made them more suspicious. Wang Lin didn't waste any more time. He lifted his right hand and pointed at the sky. He then took a deep breath and released the 9 mysterious transformation seal, causing his cultivation to erupt. At this moment, the aura of a Nirvana cleanser cultivator appeared from Wang Lin's body, and a large amount of origin energy surged into his body. As the dense origin energy entered Wang Lin's body, popping sounds echoed from within him. At the same time, a powerful force began to gather among the stars. Divine retribution clouds began to gather above this starfield filled with rubble. In an instant, these clouds covered the entire starfield. At the same time, the might of the heavens descended from the clouds onto this starfield of rubble. It separated this space out from the rest of the star system. This is divine retribution. The 2 purple-robed elders' eyes widened and flooded with disbelief. Fear immediately flashed through their eyes. Although these 2 elders were Nirvana cleanser cultivators, they didn't know much about divine retribution. The reason they were able to recognize it was because they had just witnessed a divine retribution back in Cloud C-Star system before coming here. The like button for the VIDEO is in danger. Urgently wishing for the like button for the VIDEO's aid. Chapter 110, Liu Mei. Wang Lin's expression was normal as he coldly said, "Speak." The female disciple clenched her teeth and quickly said, "It is at the gathering spot of the Xuandao sect. There should still be people sieging the place. We were in a rush to chase Li Shan, so we didn't bother staying there, but I'm sure they have a token." Li Shan's expression suddenly changed, but then he let out a bitter smile because Wang Lin's gaze fell on him. It is in Elder Liu Mei's hand he wanted to lie, but the moment he saw Wang Lin's gaze, he couldn't help but tell the truth. He never had this kind of feeling, even when meeting ancestor Punanzi. Elder Liu Mei. Wang Lin pondered a little. The image of a very beautiful young woman came to his mind. He looked at Li Shan and asked, "She reached the foundation establishment stage?" Li Shan nodded with envy and said, "Ancestor Punanzi personally helped her reach the foundation establishment stage." Wang Lin pondered a little and couldn't help but think of everything that had happened back at the Hengyu Mountain. Scenes of his parents appeared in his mind and his heart couldn't help but ache. He reached out, grabbing the female disciple and Li Shan as he jumped into the air. The female disciple panicked and a damp spot appeared on her pants as her face turned very red. "Tell me where the Xuandao sect is." Wang Lin frowned as he held the female disciple a bit further away. The female disciple weakly pointed to a direction and Li Shan also gave in and gave a more detailed direction. Wang Lin didn't say a word and quickly moved forward. After a short period of time, they arrived at the gathering ground of the Xuandao sect under the 2's guidance. The ground was in complete disarray. It was clear that there was a harsh battle here before. After Wang Lin arrived, he waved his hand and the female disciple and Li Shan fell to the ground. "You can leave." Wang Lin looked at the female disciple and walked toward the gathering spot of the Xuandao sect. The female disciple carefully backed up. After backing up more than 200 meters, she jumped on her flying sword and escaped as fast as she physically could. Wang Lin's tone was plain as he said, "Li Shan, call out the people of the Xuandao sect. I only want the token not to kill people." Li Shan's forehead was covered in sweat as he took out a jade from his bag of holding with a bitter smile. He held it against his forehead. After a while, he tossed it forward. The jade shot out like an arrow until it was out of sight. After a while, rings of light appeared on the ground. They then became pillars of light. Inside the pillars, there were 10 people sitting cross-legged on the ground. Among them was a beautiful girl that would make anyone's heart pound faster. Her expression was solemn, her hands formed the shape of a vase, and there was a duster floating above her head. This duster was like white hair as waves of white light spread out from it. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked the faces of these 10 people. The girl suddenly opened her eyes. When she saw Li Shan at first, she didn't care, but when she saw Wang Lin next to Li Shan, she was startled. After carefully looking at Wang Lin, her eyes revealed a strange light. She waved her hand and the duster landed in her hand. The pillar of light slowly dissipated. Among the 10 people there was 30-or-so-year-old young man who looked at Wang Lin with a complex expression and said, "Wang, senior brother Wang, long time no see." This person was Liu Mei's brother, Liu Feng. Wang Lin scanned him with his divine sense and found that he had reached the early stage of foundation establishment too. However, his spiritual energy was unstable. It was clear that he had just entered the foundation establishment stage. Wang Lin stared at them and let out a sigh as he said, "Xuan Dao sect, forget it. Hand over your token and I want tea, make it hard on you guys." One of the 10 Xuan Dao sect disciples, an old man, stood up and sighed. "What an arrogant junior, asking us to hand over our token right away. Liu Feng, do you know him?" Liu Feng wryly smiled and said, "Senior apprentice Ma, he is Wang Lin." The old man named Ma was startled and then he sneered, "So it's you. But even if you have reached the foundation establishment stage, you don't have the right to be arrogant before us. Scram!" With that, he waved his hand and a huge gust of wind blew toward Wang Lin. Wang Li didn't even dodge. Just as the gust of wind got within 5 meters of him, it turned into pieces of ice and fell to the ground. At the same time, there was a flash of green light and the old man named Ma's body shook as a giant hole appeared in his chest. Then, his entire body froze, and he died. Wang Lin had a strong feeling that after his spiritual energy changed, there was powerful killing intent in his mind. He had almost lost control of it many times, so he just gave up on controlling it. The sword flashed green as it circled around Wang Lin, with the tip pointed at the Xuan Dao sect. If one looked closely as the sword flew, it would pause, but Wang Lin would quickly force it to move again. The expression of the Xuan Dao sect disciples changed greatly, and Liu Feng was dumbfounded as his heart shivered and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He had always seen Wang Lin as his goal, and when he reached the foundation establishment stage with the help of Punanzi 1 year ago, he thought that he had surpassed Wang Lin. But looking at it now, not only had Wang Lin already reached the foundation establishment stage, but his cultivation was also very strange. Senior apprentice brother Ma, who was at the mid-stage of foundation establishment, died after one attack from Wang Lin. What cultivation level had Wang Lin reached? The more Liu Feng thought about it, the more scared he became. Liu Mei unexpectedly didn't reveal a surprised expression, but after looking at Wang Lin, she decisively took out the token and tossed it at him. From beginning to end, she didn't say a word, but her eyes were always on Wang Lin. After putting away the token, Wang Lin coldly looked at Liu Mei. He then turned around and disappeared into the distance. After a long time, Liu Mei withdrew her gaze and sighed. Her unparalleled charm seemed to have no effect in front of Wang Lin. After returning to his cave, Wang Lin took out the 5 tokens. After pondering for a bit, he crushed 4 of them without any hesitation and placed the remaining token in his bag of holding. He used his attraction force technique to move rocks to block the entrance of the cave. After setting up a few defensive formations, he began his closed door training. He needed to be fully prepared for the battle in 2 months. The like button for the video has dropped to 5th place. Tears brimming and wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1105, Mountain Crumbles. The divine retribution cloud gathered at a rapid rate, much faster than any of the previous divine retribution clouds Wang Lin had faced before. In the blink of an eye, the clouds covered the starfield. A thunderous rumble that could shake the entire starfield came from the sky, and a bolt of red lighting came out of the center of the clouds. This red lighting bolt was as thick as a bucket, and all the rubble in its path disintegrated. Large amounts of spatial cracks appeared as if space itself was going to shatter. This red lightning was too fast. Just as the red lightning bolt was imprinted in the eyes of the 2 elders in purple, it charged directly at Wang Lin. This person actually used some unknown method to attract divine retribution before us? One of the elders in purple muttered to himself as if he couldn't believe what he just saw. The red lightning bolt descending with shocking momentum, causing ripples to appear, and landed directly on Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all when the red lightning fell. He raised his right hand and mercilessly squeezed. In an instant, the shocking lightning collapsed with Wang Lin's squeeze and turned into countless arcs of lightning that scattered around him. This scene caused the two elders in purple to gasp. Their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. At this moment, the three youths arrived and saw Wang Lin crush the divine retribution lightning. Their scalps tingled and they were almost scared out of their wits. One of them began to tremble, and the fear in his eyes reached a peak. Wang Lin's expression was still cold. This kind of divine retribution lightning was truly insignificant to him. He easily crushed the first bolt of divine retribution lightning, and with a wave of his right hand, the scattered lightning quickly gathered toward his right hand. In the blink of an eye, a red light appeared around Wang Lin's hand, and a bolt of lightning moved within the light. As Wang Lin's cold gaze looked over, the people inside the green light screen felt like something bad was going to happen. Wang Lin threw the red light in his hand at the green light screen. The red light turned into red lightning and smashed into the green light screen. The green light screen shook violently, causing the two elders in purple to turn pale. He's indeed an ordinary cultivator. The strength of this green light screen was beyond Wang Lin's expectations. Even a bolt of divine retribution lightning wasn't T enough to break it. If 1 isn't T enough, then I'll use 10. If 10 isn't T enough, then I'll use 100. Wang Lin said while killing intent filled his eyes. The divine retribution clouds above rumbled and another bolt of red lightning fell. It wasn't just one bolt. The red lightning seemed to connect together into a line. A total of 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning shot at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, but there was a trace of madness in his eyes. He smiled as he jumped into the air. Not only did he not dodge, he charged at the divine retribution lightning. At the same time, a vortex appeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows, and his ancient thunder dragon origin soul flew out and let out a roar at the divine retribution lightning. The roar of the ancient thunder dragon would make all thunder and lightning obey. However, Wang Lin was the only one that dared to roar at the heaven's divine retribution lightning. The 9 bolts of descending lightning paused before the roar from Wang Lin's ancient thunder dragon origin soul. He charged into the middle of the 9 bolts of lightning, and the lightning in his left eye flashed. The 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning gathered in his left eye as if a suction force was coming from it. The rumbling continued as the lightning bolts charged into his left eye until they were all absorbed. At this moment, lightning filled his body and popping sounds echoed. There was even some lightning around his body, making him look like a thunder celestial. Wang Lin raised his head as he looked at the divine retribution cloud above him and shouted, "Is this all the power you got?" At this moment, he didn't even know what kind of shock him devouring the divine retribution lightning had brought to the people below. The 3 youths were scared out of their minds. They could have never dreamt that they had provoked such a terrifying opponent. Devouring divine retribution lightning, the faces of the 2 elders in purple became pale. At this moment, the pride on their faces was long gone, and they looked at Wang Lin with shock and disbelief in their eyes. They thought that this white-haired youth had to be hiding his cultivation level. When they saw Wang Lin devour the 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning, cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. One of them turned around and roared, "Quickly, finish the formation, quickly." The nearly 100 cultivators in the distance were in at the front, but they could still see what had happened, and they were all shocked. After the elder roared, they gasped and quickly sped up, forming the formation. The elders in purple also rushed back. They ignored their statuses as elders and also began helping build the formation. "Quick, we must be quick and leave this damned Alliance star system. How can the Alliance star system have someone that can devour divine retribution lightning?" The divine retribution cloud gathered once more, and a powerful pressure appeared. At this moment, a 10 feet thick purple lightning bolt descended. It was so powerful that the moment it charged out, it broke through space and entered the void. However, it rushed out from the void 3 inches from Wang Lin and smashed into the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Wang Lin let out a roar and didn't retreat a single step. Instead, he opened his arms and grabbed hold of the 10 feet wide purple lightning. No matter how much the thunderous rumbles echoed, Wang Lin's body didn't move. Large amounts of residual lightning surrounded Wang Lin and constantly popped. This didn't end here. The divine retribution seemed to become angry, and large amounts of purple lightning bolts bombarded Wang Lin. Soon, the lightning formed a ball almost 1,000 feet wide before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body was being gradually pushed back by this lightning, but there was a hint of madness on his face. Wang Lin let out a roar. A bit more! The divine retribution lightning above the star field let out a human-like roar, and at this moment a bolt of 7-colored lightning descended. The moment the 7-colored lightning appeared, it split into 7 different bolts of lightning. They descended on Wang Lin while carrying unimaginable might. The rumbling echoed as Wang Lin continued to retreat. The ball of lightning before him had become over 1,000 feet wide, and the power inside it was unimaginable. Even though Wang Lin had command over all thunder and lightning, he was finding it difficult to bear. Seeing the endless divine retribution begin to churn once more and flashes of 7-colored light appear, Wang Lin moved. He mercilessly threw this ball of lightning down at the green light screen, and the people inside all cried in shock. This ball of lightning that contained immeasurable amounts of divine retribution lightning contained heaven-shattering power, and under Wang Lin's control, it smashed into the green light screen. The faces of the 2 elders in purple went completely pale and their pupils shrank. "Open the formation!" One of the elders immediately roared. He didn't care if the formation wasn't complete. However, no one objected. The nearly 100 cultivators all got into their own positions and formed their own seals. As for the 2 elders in purple, they looked at the descending ball of lightning and sat down. Their origin souls merged with the green light screen in an attempt to strengthen it. Almost at the moment their origin souls entered the green light screen, the ball of lightning smashed into the green light screen. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed, and a shockwave was set off across the entire green light screen. Endless lightning vented on the green light screen and immediately caused the green light to dim. The 2 elders in purple immediately coughed out blood, and their eyes were filled with fear. One of the elders' bodies exploded. His origin soul charged out toward the formation that was activating while screaming. Countless lightning bolts penetrated the light screen and moved like dragons inside. More than a dozen of the cultivators sitting there were touched by those moving dragons. Their bodies were instantly charred, and not even their origin souls escaped instant death. Under the attack of the ball of lightning, the green light screen couldn't withstand it and shattered into countless fragments. An unimaginable impact caused a shockwave that spread out. The mosquito beast realized that something was wrong and quickly escaped. It was very fast, so there was no need to worry. However, all the rubble in this starfield turned to dust under this shockwave. In the blink of an eye, the rubble in the starfield disappeared without a trace. Aside from the central area, there wasn't a single piece of rubble remaining. Wang Lin charged out filled with powerful killing intent and anger from the mosquito beast being injured. At this moment, the divine retribution cloud also made its move. Hundreds of bolts of 7-colored lightning came out from the cloud and shot at Wang Lin. Following the 7-colored lightning, there was a sea of flames. This was the first time this flame-like divine retribution had descended to burn everything in its path. Just at this moment, the formation created by the rubble finally opened. It shined brightly like the stars, and a powerful aura slowly spread out. The seriously injured elder in purple struggled to follow his companion's origin soul. As long as the 2 of them could enter the formation, they could live. As for Wang Lin, they already feared him from the depths of their hearts. Seeing that the formation had opened, some of the closer cultivators rushed in to be teleported away. But Wang Lin would never allow these people to escape. His eyes lit up and a monstrous wave was set off in space. A power that could collapse space itself appeared around Wang Lin. At this moment, countless illusions of volcanoes appeared out of thin air. A heat wave spread and the muffled roars of volcanoes could be heard. Killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes as he softly said, "Mountain crumbles." Forgot to mention, at the end of the month, wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1106 to 1 Mountain 2 crumbles. Celestial spell Mountain crumbles. The moment Wang Lin said those words, the countless illusory volcanoes that appeared around Wang Lin suddenly began to overlap. The countless illusory volcanoes overlapped, and in the blink of an eye fused into one. A majestic mountain suddenly appeared before Wang Lin. This mountain was no different from a real one. This mountain was more than 10,000 feet tall. Although it wasn't large in space, it was a giant before everyone here. A powerful pressure diffused across the area. The moment the mountain appeared, violent ripples appeared in space. a lot of the rubble in the formation collapsed. The mountain began to shake, then its top exploded and countless rocks scattered everywhere. At the same time, black smoke rushed out and filled the air. Dark red flames sprayed out from the peak. The temperature of the flames could erase all life. As they sprayed out, the flames turned into giant burning rocks and mercilessly smashed down. The cultivators from Cloud Seas screamed when the stones smashed into them. Their bodies were immediately crushed, and the flames went inside their bodies, directly refining their origin souls. The black smoke from the volcano contained a large amount of fire poison, and it spread everywhere. It was like the apocalypse was happening in this starfield, and it was terrifyingly real. A cultivator who was already half a step inside the formation was about to leave, turned around with a terrifying expression, and the black smoke immediately surrounded him. Before he could leave, he let out a mournful cry as his body turned into black gas and collapsed. Even his origin soul was burned to dust, and he disappeared in an instant. Even the 7-colored lightning exploded early due to the black smoke and flames. This caused a heaven-shaking thunderous rumble. Some of the weaker cultivators that escaped the flaming boulders and the fire poison had their origin souls shattered by this thunderous rumble. They coughed out blood and their eyes dimmed before they died. Miserable cries echoed across the starfield. However, this wasn't over yet. The mountain that sprayed out the black smoke and flames trembled once more. Waves of lava began to surge out to the top of the mountain, and intense heat filled the area. Then, an aura that could destroy everything in the world appeared. When the lava spread out, 7 cultivators were too close and were about to flee when 2 of them were surrounded by the black smoke. They died painful deaths. There was another person who was smashed by a flaming boulder the moment he flew up. His body was splattered into a pool of blood, but due to the intense heat, the blood quickly turned to mist and dissipated. They were the lucky ones. Although they didn't escape death, the pain they suffered couldn't be compared to what the 4 remaining ones experienced. These last 4 were a bit slow and didn't even have time to fly away before the lava smashed into them. The moment the lava got close, their bodies began to burn, leaving behind nothing but black skeletons that maintained the posture of what they were doing before death. The skeletons only lasted for half a breath of time before they collapsed into piles of ashes. As for their origin souls, they were burned into nothing by the lava. The most painful were those with higher cultivation levels. They didn't die in the first wave of lava but couldn't escape the lava. They could only struggle inside. Even though they used various spells and treasures, it was difficult to escape this calamity. The mosquito beast in the distance used its fast speed, quickly returned. Its eyes were filled with coldness as it flew into the mountain crumbles, where its companions were. Wang Lin's mountain crumble had destroyed all sealing forces, and there were no flames around the mosquito beasts. Seeing the Mosquito King arriving, the mosquito beasts let out a cries and immediately followed after their king. This group of mosquito beasts charged left and right inside Wang Lin's mountain crumbles. They were very vengeful as they charged at a terrified cultivator in yellow. This person was one of the 3 people that had lured the mosquito beasts away. He was the one with the injured leg. He had just avoided a flaming boulder when he felt a gust of wind behind him. Seeing the mosquito beasts, his expression changed, but he was too late. The group of mosquito beasts surrounded him and tore his body apart. This group of mosquito beasts had tasted blood, which made them even more crazy. Under the leadership of their king, they searched for the other 2 for revenge. All of this happened in an instant. Under the power of mountain crumbles, there were no injuries, only death. The origin soul of the elder in purple that had lost his body was terrified. He dodged the burning boulders and black smoke as he clenched his teeth and charged at the formation. The other elder in purple was also pale as he dodged the black smoke and charged at the formation, completely disregarding the lives of the disciples. He was terrified, and his heart was filled with regret and hatred. He regretted his greed, and he hated the 3 disciples under him that brought the giant mosquito beasts that caused this calamity. Wang Lin's eyes were calm, but he didn't show any mercy toward these people. They dared to think about stealing the mosquito beasts, so they deserved to pay the price. He opened his arms and shouted, "Mountain, first crumble!" After Wang Lin shouted, the mountain trembled once more, and a large amount of rocks fell off into the lava. The surrounding lava suddenly soared into the air, and at the same time, it filled the starfield with an unimaginable force. Some of the remaining cultivators were touched by this lava and were turned into black ashes while screaming. The fastest elder in purple S origin soul got near the center of the formation. Thanks to the first crumble, countless cracks had appeared on the already broken formation, and it released a harsh glow. As the lava charged into the air, the formation couldn't withstand the destructive force, and the formation collapsed. The intense flashing light suddenly penetrated anything nearby. The formation rumbled as it shattered inch by inch before it collapsed completely. No! The elder in purple S origin soul was filled with despair, and he couldn't help but tremble as he floated there. However, due to this pause, a burning boulder smashed into his origin soul from above. The elder coughed out a mouthful of essence origin energy as he retreated, and his origin soul began to burn. However, the crisis wasn't over yet. The poisonous black smoke formed a storm around him. As miserable screams echoed, the elder used some unknown method to charge out of his storm. He was covered in flames and his origin soul was bleak, as if it would dissipate at any time. His origin soul looked like the skin of a toad and was covered in pustules. These pustules were filled with fire poison. Even the inside of his origin soul had a fire burning. The elder roared in anguish as he retreated. He jerked his head up to look at Wang Lin, and there was madness in his eyes. "If I die, you will die with me." The old man let out a roar and charged at Wang Lin. At this moment, he was prepared to self-destruct. Waves of origin energy came from the elder's origin soul, forming a violent force that charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, and as the elder got close, Wang Lin pointed with his right hand. Celestial origin energy moved along his body and went into his right hand. "Stop!" Wang Lin's voice was cold, but the moment he spoke, the old man's origin soul paused for a moment. The old man's cultivation level was higher than Wang Lin's, so Wang Lin activated his fire origin energy to suppress the rebound from the stop spell. He waved his right hand, and with a thought, the karma whip appeared like a dragon and shot toward the elder. There was a snap, and the destructive aura coming from the elder's origin soul was shattered by the karma whip. As the snapping sound echoed, the elder's origin soul let out miserable screams. The madness in his eyes was gone and was replaced with fear. Just as he was about to retreat, the karma whip pulled him to Wang Lin. Wang Lin grabbed the origin soul and threw into the crack leading to Wang Lin's storage space. It looked as if the origin soul was devoured. All of this happened in an instant without a single pause. This caused the remaining elder to tremble, and he turned to escape. But how could Wang Lin let him escape? His right hand pointed to the sky and he shouted, "Second crumble!" 1 mountain 2 crumbles was the limit of Wang Lin's current understanding of mountain crumbles. Compared to Xianxia's 6 mountains and 12 crumbles, it was still very lacking. Xianxia's mountain crumbles could destroy a realm, and although Wang Lin couldn't do the same, it was enough to destroy these cultivators. If there was no divine retribution, Wang Lin wouldn't have come on his own. But with divine retribution, forget the fact that these 2 elders were only at the late stage of Nirvana Cleanser. Wang Lin would dare to battle with Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The entire space began to tremble under the second crumble, and the huge mountain trembled while rumbling loudly. The mountain finally collapsed. Not just the mountain, but mountain soul formed by Wang Lin's will and celestial origin energy also collapsed. Countless burning rocks scattered and endless lava and poisonous black smoke sprayed out, covering the starfield. If this was it, it wouldn't be much. But under Wang Lin's control, all the shattered burning rocks, lava and poisonous black smoke formed a flowing river around him. At this moment, Wang Lin was like a god as his white hair flowed and his cold gaze was filled with killing intent. I forgot to say, the latest 3 chapters are all 4,000-word major chapters. Is Leo that kind? So this is the moon god. Is it the like button for the VIDEO? Do you all also start the VIDEO? Chapter 1107. Battling against heaven. All the Cloud Sea cultivators had been disintegrated. Only the last elder in purple who coughed out blood after the second crumble desperately tried to escape. He was scared, totally terrified. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand, and the burning river shot toward the old man. Wang Lin stopped paying attention to the old man and looked up. The divine retribution flames had descended from the divine retribution clouds. Fire Wang Lin's expression was calm, and he revealed a smile. As the flames descended, Wang Lin pointed at them with his right hand. In an instant, a flame appeared in his left eye, and a fiery red armor appeared around him. From a distance, it looked like Wang Lin was wearing fire. The white cloak flowed behind him along with his white hair, and there was also the white vermilion bird on the armor. Wang Lin charged straight at the heavenly flames. He rushed into the heavenly flame instantly, and the flames that got near him were immediately absorbed by the armor. The vermilion bird came out from his armor and let out a cry. The vermilion bird seemed to be dancing within the heavenly flames. This heavenly flame divine retribution was something Wang Lin could withstand. He raised his head to look at the sky and revealed a challenging gaze. Wang Lin had experienced many divine retributions and had always ended up in an sorry state afterward. He was almost killed many times, but he had never yielded. Today he controlled both fire and thunder, and the suppressed defying nature inside him erupted once more. This divine retribution was an expression of the heavenly Tao. If you wanted to defy the heavens, you first had to defy the heavens' divine retribution. Intense rumblings came from the divine retribution cloud, as Wang Lin stared at it with a challenging gaze. As if the might of the heavens had been insulted, the clouds churned violently and the heavens might descend from the clouds. This wasn't the first time Wang Lin had experienced the heavens' might. He had encountered it twice before. Anyone that dared to rebel before the heavens' might would be destroyed. However, not only did Wang Lin not retreat, he began to laugh. Fire divine retribution, lightning divine retribution, illusion divine retribution, might divine retribution, is there nothing other than these four? Wang Lin faced the sky and didn't move at all under the pressure from the heavens' might. After he spoke, the heavens responded, and the pressure increased over 100-fold. The space around Wang Lin began to distort as if there was an indescribable power tearing it. Wang Lin's body immediately descended a few dozen feet under this pressure. Crackling sounds came from his armor, but his head was held high. He waved his right hand. In the distance, the burning river wrapped around the old man's burning corpse and pulled it back along with the origin soul. The elder from the cloud sea had been gravely injured. The ball of divine retribution lightning was enough to cause his body to collapse, but he was able to suppress it. Then mountain crumbles injured him even more, causing his cultivation level to fall greatly. He now only had the power of an early-stage nirvana cleanser cultivator. Due to being surrounded by the burning river, the elder's origin soul had weakened, but when the burning river returned to Wang Lin, his eyes suddenly jerked open. Then his origin soul expanded like crazy, allowing him to escape the river, and he charged at Wang Lin. Die for me! This was the old man's last roar in life. He closed in on Wang Lin filled with killing intent. Wang Lin let out a cold snort. Then his right hand formed a palm and slapped down on the origin soul. The origin energy within the star field gathered like crazy to form a giant handprint, and it smashed down on the old man's origin soul. The old man's expression changed greatly, and he cried, "This is rank 9 Soul Sect's War Spirit print." Just as the old man said this, the print smashed into his origin soul and pushed him back into the burning river. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the old man's origin soul immediately collapsed. Without any time to ponder the old man's words, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and pointed at the burning river. The burning river quickly rushed above Wang Lin and reformed into a mountain. However, this mountain was filled with cracks, and the red light coming from the cracks lit up the area. At this moment, the heavens' might became even stronger and pressed down. Wang Lin face turned slightly red, but he laughed, pushed his hands up and roared, "Mountain crumbles, destroy the heavens!" The large mountain above Wang Lin suddenly charged up, creating a sharp whistle. Wang Lin flew up and followed closely after the mountain. His hand was pushing against the bottom of the mountain as if he was pushing it straight into the divine retribution cloud. As the whistling sounds echoed, the pressure from the heavens might became hundreds of times stronger. As Wang Lin pushed the mountain up, it began to collapse. The shattered pieces couldn't withstand the might of the heavens and were crushed to dust. However, Wang Lin didn't stop moving forward but moved even faster. He let out a roar as he pushed the mountain up and got closer to the divine retribution clouds. He got closer and closer. Wang Lin's hair moved and the armor on his body continued to crackle as if it couldn't bear it anymore. There were sounds of bones rubbing coming from inside Wang Lin's body, and the veins on his face were swelling. However, Wang Lin didn't care about any of this. What he wanted was a defying intent. He had confronted divine retribution many times, and he was in a passive position during every one of those times. This time, Wang Lin wanted to fight back. As he got closer, a large portion of the mountain collapsed into dust. In the end, the entire mountain disintegrated into dust. Although the mountain had collapsed, the mountain's soul was still there. After all the rocks disintegrated, Wang Lin was holding a flaming mountain. Although rather than a mountain, it was more of a mountain-shaped flame. At this moment, Wang Lin was within 100,000 feet of the divine retribution cloud. The heavens might suddenly increased. Cracks appeared in the space below it, and endless chilly energy came out from the spatial cracks. Even the flame mountain Wang Lin was pushing became dim, as if it was going to extinguish under the heavens' might. Wang Lin let out a roar. Then he waved his right hand, and the origin energy inside his body pushed the flame mountain toward the divine retribution cloud above. 100,000 feet, 90,000 feet, 80,000 feet, 50,000 feet! The moment the flame mountain came within 50,000 feet of the divine retribution clouds, a thunderous rumble came out from the clouds. In the end, the mountain wasn't able to make it into the divine retribution clouds and extinguished under the shock. Without the flame mountain, there was nothing between it and Wang Lin. Wang Lin was filled with unwillingness. Only 50,000 feet more. If he could get past these 50,000 feet, he could attack the divine retribution cloud. As the pressure descended, a raging flame appeared in his left eye and monstrous thunder appeared in his right. The thunder from his right hand moved along his right hand and formed a ball of lightning above his right palm. At the same time, the flame from his left eye went along his left arm, and a white fireball appeared above his left hand. Thunder of the heavens, listen to my command as an ancient thunder dragon and gather. Wang Lin floated in the air and roared. A giant ancient thunder dragon appeared behind Wang Lin. Its eyes were filled with heaven-defying intent, and it let out a roar. All the thunder suddenly transformed and began to gather in his hand. The area within 10,000 feet of Wang Lin was covered in thunder, as if it was a thunder hell. Endless lightning moved around like snakes. What was even more alarming was that when Wang Lin used his right to command thunder, countless bolts of lightning unexpectedly came from the divine retribution clouds toward his right hand. At this moment, it was as if Wang Lin was competing with the heavens for the control of thunder. He was fighting against the heavens for the right to control thunder. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, more lightning from the divine retribution cloud was pulled out. Another thunderous rumble came from the divine retribution cloud, and the descending lightning bolts paused. They seemed like they were going to return to the clouds. Heaven is Tao, divine retribution. If there really is a heaven, and if heaven wants to destroy me, I'll destroy heaven. I, Wang Lin, don't believe in heaven as Tao or divine retribution. The so-called heaven as Tao is merely a self-appointed heaven as Tao, and the so-called divine retribution is merely a self-appointed divine retribution. Seeing the lightning returning to the divine retribution clouds, Wang Lin's grasp with his left hand. Fire of the heavens, listen to the command of my vermilion bird. Gather. In that instant, a large amount of white flames appeared next to the ancient thunder dragon and turned into a giant vermilion bird. This vermilion bird opened its wings and let out a cry. A sea of flames suddenly appeared out of nowhere and gathered toward Wang Lin's left hand. At the same time, a large amount of flames came out from the divine retribution clouds and went toward the fireball in Wang Lin's left hand. Not only was he going to compete with the heavens for thunder, he was also going to compete with the heavens for fire. If any other cultivator saw this, they would be greatly shocked. Right now, Wang Lin had a ball of thunder in his right hand and ball of fire in his left hand. Aside from absorbing origin energy, he was competing with the divine retribution clouds for power. The roar from the divine retribution clouds became even more clear, then a blood mist came out from inside them. This was the fifth type of divine retribution, blood divine retribution. The moment the blood mist appeared, Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and shot out like an arrow. He charged at the divine retribution clouds with a ball of thunder 1,000 feet wide and a ball of fire of similar size. 50,000 feet, 40,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 10,000 feet. Wang Lin got closer and closer to the divine retribution cloud. The moment he was within 10,000 feet, the blood mist arrived. It's been a long time since wishing for likes on the VIDEO. The little pig wishing for the like button for the VIDEO support. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1108, Aura of the Ancient Celestial Realm. From a distance, it looked like Wang Lin was devoured by the blood mist, and everything calmed down. The mosquito flew around anxiously with its companions. It looked at the divine retribution clouds but didn't dare to get too close, as this divine retribution was not something it could withstand right now. Time slowly passed. Just as the mosquito was getting anxious enough to charge toward the divine retribution clouds, a thunderous roar came from inside the red mist. As the red mist rumbled, there were flashes of thunder, and a sea of flames raged. A crimson-red figure charged out from the blood mist. It was Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was pale, but there was killing intent within his ferocious expression as charged out from the red mist and headed directly for the divine retribution clouds. He crossed that 10,000 feet gap in an instant and charged into the divine retribution cloud. The moment he entered the divine retribution cloud, he immediately felt the might of the heavens. He pushed both his hands forward, causing fire and thunder to cross, and created a heaven-shaking destructive aura. A thunderous rumble suddenly appeared, and as the fire and thunder collided, the boundless divine retribution clouds rapidly shrank. Thunderfire filled the entire divine retribution clouds. The powerful impact caused the divine retribution clouds to shrink like crazy, and the roar from within became even more heaven-shaking. In almost an instant, the divine retribution clouds began to collapse due to the intense rumbling. It was as if there was a pair of giant hands tearing the clouds up. Wang Lin clearly felt the tearing force that was attempting to tear his body into pieces. He was just about to get out when his pupils shrank. He was surrounded by clouds, but Wang Lin clearly saw a 100-foot spatial crack not far away from him. Dense fog came out from the crack, as if this crack was the source of the divine retribution. After hesitating for a bit, Wang Lin looked at the spatial crack and charged at it. After a few moments, he arrived next to it. What was strange was that he didn't feel the tearing force at all while near the crack, and this made Wang Lin even more cautious. Clenching his teeth, Wang Lin sent out a sliver of his divine sense into that crack. The moment his divine sense entered, his body trembled violently. As soon as his divine sense entered the crack, he saw a new world. This place had a blue sky and an ocean, and was filled with celestial spiritual energy. The land was boundless with no end in sight, but Wang Lin immediately saw a giant statue on the ground. This giant stone statue was an ancient god. This ancient god had 8 stars, with 2 of them sealed, but he stood there motionless as if he was dead. However, Wang Lin clearly felt the powerful vitality coming from that ancient god. If that was it wouldn't have been enough to shock Wang Lin. However, he didn't just see one ancient god. On the ground, there were no less than 10 ancient gods, and nearly 100 ancient demons and ancient devils as well. There was a young man sitting on top of one of the ancient demons. He had a mirror in his hand and frowned as he calculated. The divine retribution entrance Uncle Master Ma mentioned should be here. Just at this moment, the youth suddenly raised his head and looked up. His eyes were filled with ecstasy. He looked at the sky and had apparently found Wang Lin's divine sense. His eyes lit up and a ray of black light shot out into the sky. Wang Lin didn't hesitate at all to cut off that sliver of divine sense. He immediately rushed out and charged through the fire and thunder within the divine retribution clouds. He shot out from the divine retribution clouds and headed for the mosquito beasts. Right when he stepped out from the divine retribution clouds, his expression changed, and he felt his trace of divine sense destroyed. He didn't have time to think before he waved his hand and put all the mosquito beasts inside the storage space. He also took the yellow talisman off the mosquito beast's back. He did all of this without pause. Then he placed the yellow talisman on his body and moved. A whirlwind appeared around him and his speed increased drastically, and he flew away. Shortly after, Wang Lin left the rumblings within the divine retribution clouds. The divine retribution clouds continued to shrink until they seemed like they had disappeared. However, if you looked closely, you would see that the divine retribution clouds hadn't dissipated. They had condensed into a ray of greenish-black light. The moment the greenish-black light appeared, an aura that didn't belong to this world appeared. The isolation created due to the divine retribution immediately dissipated. I accidentally helped dissipate the powerful four-form divine retribution. Forget it. I finally escaped from that damn place. So it was right to help him. Excited words came from the greenish-black light, then it disappeared without a trace. Just at this moment, in the far western region of the Alliance, there was an old man sitting on the prairie of a very common cultivation planet. He wore black and was very calm, as if nothing in the world could change that calmness. If Wang Lin was here, he would immediately recognize this old man as the person who stopped the battle between Xianxia and the Yao family ancestor in Al-Heaven. His eyes were calm as he looked at the green grass beside him. Under his gaze, the grass began to grow strangely. It turned from a bud into withered grass in the blink of an eye, but then it immediately turned back into a bud. This cycle continued endlessly. He raised his right hand and was about to pick the grass when his right hand suddenly trembled. His eyes filled with disbelief. If Master Flamespark saw the old man's expression, he would be greatly shocked. This person that he respected greatly had always been calm and never revealed this kind of expression. The old man waved his sleeves and his body turned transparent before disappearing. No one knew what his cultivation level was or what spell he used, but when he appeared, he was at the place where Wang Lin experienced the divine retribution. The distance he crossed was simply too large. Not even spatial bending could move this far in one go. However, all of this was extremely easy for the old man. He frowned as he looked around until his gaze locked on the void about 1,000 feet away. This was where that greenish-black light appeared. A sliver of ancient celestial realm aura. The old man pondered a bit before turning around and leaving. As for Wang Lin, he quickly returned back into the area controlled by the four divine sect, and only then did he slow down. He kept replaying the scene he just saw, especially the young man who shocked him greatly. Who is he? Wang Lin's eyes revealed dread as he looked at the dark sky behind him. He lifted his feet and ripples appeared before he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already outside the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. He didn't enter the burning star field, but chose an abandoned planet. Wang Lin picked a mountain on that planet and sat down. After sitting down, he let out a breath of relief, and the more he thought, he felt that lingering fear. After a long time, he suppressed his various moods, and his right hand reached at the void. A crack immediately appeared, and the origin soul of one of the elders in purple appeared within his hand. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out without hesitation and went toward the head of the unconscious origin soul. Soon, large amounts of memories were extracted by him. Wind Celestial Realm-S Cloud Sea-Star System. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. After pondering a bit, a hint of joy appeared in his eyes. Cloud Sea-Star System. After pondering a bit more, Wang Lin once more explored the memories of this origin soul to look for the passage to the Cloud Sea-Star System. After 15 minutes, Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense and smiled. The structure of this Cloud Sea-Star System is vastly different from the Alliance and Al-Heaven, and it is very suitable for me also. That Wind Celestial Realm is actually filled with mosquito beasts. I didn't think that the barrier around the Cloud Sea was the weakest out of the 4 star systems. Only a special formation is needed to break through. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the origin soul in his hand and carefully put it back inside the storage space. I can use this origin soul as a guide by using senior brother Qing Shuai's spell. Now I am only missing the formation. Fortunately, the materials necessary for this formation aren't too difficult to find. I just need to fully understand the formation to be able to form one. If everything I prepared for Tuosen isn't enough, then the Cloud Sea-Star System will be my last choice. Wang Lin pondered a bit before standing up and taking a deep breath. He looked at the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect and muttered, "Alright, now I just need for the old Divine Emperor to return with the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal Al-Heaven, the Corpse Sect. And the Alliance forces all guess that I sent out the Jade so I can fish among the chaos. In truth, you all only guessed half of it. My other goal is to lead you all to the land of the ancient gods so none of you can mess up my 4 Divine Sect's plan to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor in the Rain Celestial Realm. I wonder how many of you have seen through my plan." Wang Lin was filled with pride as he moved toward the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. He was going meet Wang Wei and Hu Huan, and also ancient devil Tajia, who was sealed by the holy treasure. At this moment, a heaven-shaking matter took place inside the Alliance headquarters at the central area of the Alliance. Even the formation outside shook violently, as if it was going to collapse. At the same time, Deep within the burning starfield on the white stone the old Divine Emperor was sitting on, the old Divine Emperor suddenly opened his eyes. However, soon after, his eyes exploded into a pool of blood. Wang Lin, come to see me immediately. Quickly. The year of the dragon is approaching. Leo's year is coming fast. Fervently shouting for the like button for the VIDEO. Wishing to be drowned in happiness by the likes for the VIDEO. Chapter 1109. The Divine Emperor dies. The moment the old Divine Emperor sent out the divine sense, Wang Lin, who was about to enter the burning starfield, trembled. He suddenly looked up and his expression changed. As the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor and also someone who had cultivated the same 9 mysterious transformations, he naturally had a special method to communicate with the old Divine Emperor. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to use the talisman that was still on him and charged into the burning starfield. He was too fast, and just as he entered the burning starfield, he took a step and disappeared using spatial bending. In an instant, ripples appeared 100 feet from the white stone the old Divine Emperor was on, and Wang Lin stepped out. He immediately saw the old Divine Emperor's bloody eyes. Death aura was spreading out from the old Divine Emperor. Wang Lin didn't even need to use his divine sense to feel death fiercely trying to take the old Divine Emperor. Senior Wang Lin's eyes were filled with sorrow as he stepped onto the white stone and opened his mouth. He had many things to say, yet he wasn't able to utter a single word. The old Divine Emperor raised his head. There was a hint of light within his eyes that were bleeding black blood. Your senior brother, Xianxia, is really inside the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. The activation of the formation outside the headquarters was directly related to him. He didn't die, but he went crazy. The Cultivation Alliance has been hiding a heaven-shaking secret for countless years. When Master Xuanzhong and them went to the Rain Celestial Realm back then, not only did they obtain most of the inheritances, they also found some mysterious things. They have been studying them for these countless years. I fear not even the brilliant Void Realm knew of this matter. These mysterious things are too important. They could even affect the 4 celestial realms. Wang Lin, quickly go save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, and then immediately send this jade to the brilliant Void Realm. This matter is too terrifying. Your cultivation level isn't high enough, so don't get involved in this. The old Divine Emperor was already on his deathbed, and after saying so many things at once, he couldn't help but try to catch his breath. However, he still struggled to raise his right hand and point to between his eyebrows. His origin soul suddenly flew out from his body and looked at Wang Lin with a gentle gaze. Wang Lin, take care of yourself. I am unable to help you anymore. After he spoke, his origin soul released a burst of soft light, but soon it turned into a bright light that spread in all directions. In the blink of an eye, the brightness of the light reached a peak, and Wang Lin's vision blurred. When he could see again, he saw the old Divine Emperor's origin soul gradually dissipate into specks of light. At that moment he clearly saw a hint of melancholy and relief on the old Divine Emperor's face. 2 things appeared where the old Divine Emperor dissipated. There was a red jade and a crystal the size of a baby's fist. Pure celestial spiritual energy came from the crystal and slowly spread out. Wang Lin silently pondered, and the sadness in his eyes became even stronger. He silently looked at where the old Divine Emperor's origin soul had dissipated, and after a long time, he let out a sigh before looking at the old Divine Emperor's body. After losing the origin soul, the body began to burn until it turned into a burning statue. It maintained the old Divine Emperor's previous appearance and position. His right hand was still pointing to between his eyebrows. Wang Lin took a few steps back, kneeled down on the stone, and kowtowed 3 times on the stone. He didn't worship or kneel for the heavens, but the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor received 3 kowtows from Wang Lin. The moment the old Divine Emperor died, all the elders in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect felt sadness in their hearts. They all silently flew out from the planets they were on, and knelt down toward the direction of the old Divine Emperor's body. Tears flowed out from their eyes. I respectfully send off the Divine Emperor. Hope you have a good trip. I pray the Divine Emperor's soul in heaven will protect my Vermilion Bird Divine sect. Soon, not only them, but all the Vermilion Bird Divine sect members felt the sadness that spread across the world. They all knew that the old Divine Emperor had left. The sect members knelt down one by one and tears silently flowed out from their eyes. Respectfully sending off the Divine Emperor, A sound that came out from the heart gradually came out of the cultivation planets, and became louder and louder. Even the vermilion bird statues on the main planets let out cries of sadness. An illusory vermilion bird that was very old and tired flew out from the old Divine Emperor's body. It flew into the distance until it turned into nothing. The once powerful vermilion bird Divine Emperor that led the four divine sect through the crisis of the white tiger Divine Emperor's death, the black tortoise Divine Emperor's betrayal, and the azure dragon Divine Emperor's disappearance. After countless years, the old Divine Emperor had finally passed on. At this moment, the elders of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect, the White Tiger Divine Sect, and the Black Tortoise Divine Sect all felt something. They silently looked at the direction of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect and knelt down. The members of these three sects also knelt down. A sad aura shrouded the eastern region of the Alliance. The former glory had gone with the wind. The pursuit without regret was merely for the past. The present was lost in the sadness of the past, but it will exist forever in the hearts of all four divine sect members. After the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor died, Owl Heaven called back all their cultivators. Under the command of Master Flamespark, they headed toward planet Suzaku. Even the only family who had an inheritance from the ancient cultivation world came from Owl Heaven to join them. The halls from the Thunder Celestial Temple moved among the cultivators and gave off bursts of pressure. Not only them, the Corpse sect almost sent out their entire sect toward planet Suzuka. Long teams of disciples with coffins moved through the stars. It looked like a funeral procession. The actions of these two sides immediately caught the attention of the various alliance forces. After seeing the information on the Jades, the forces met in secret and all sent out their own forces. At this instant, a storm was set off inside the alliance, the dark aura before a violent storm gradually appeared. On the other side, in the eastern region of the Four Divine Sect, a group of elders also led their sect members toward planet Suzaku. This was to cover up the Four Divine Sect's real movement. Almost at the same moment, all the various forces arrived at planet Suzaku. The remaining 35 Nirvana Shatterer elders gathered in the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. They sat in a formation with serious expressions and expectation in their eyes. They formed a circle, and everyone had a formation below them. Between the 35 people, there was a circular shape that was empty. However, there were 35 branches that connected this circle with the formations under the 35 elders. There was a large amount of four divine sect members around the 35 elders, no less than 10,000 people. They all sat down, and there was a formation below each of them that linked to the formations under the 35 elders. They were all waiting for the order. Once order was given, they would release all the origin energy inside their bodies without reservation to open the formation. At this moment, Wang Lin moved among the stars and slowly made his way forward. Soon, he arrived before a ring of fire that rotated like a storm. Shu Liguo's roar could sometimes be heard from within. Wang Lin stopped outside the firestorm and shouted, "Shu Liguo!" After he spoke, Shu Liguo's voice inside the fire suddenly stopped. At the same time, a huge gap within the firestorm suddenly appeared. The gap was large enough that you could clearly see Shu Liguo's sorry figure inside. After hearing Wang Lin's voice, Shu Liguo subconsciously revealed a look of flattery, but he forcibly suppressed it. Instead, he revealed his suppressed anger. "You murderous fiend, you finally remembered your grandpa Shu. Today I am going to deal with you." Shu Liguo had been forced into countless life and death situations that forced him to comprehend the ancient sword intent. His cultivation level had increased leaps and bounds, so much so that he would even dare to fight against ordinary Nirvana Scryer cultivators. At this moment, he charged out filled with anger and turned into a giant sword. He looked exactly like the celestial sword and contained a hint of the aura of wealth. As he charged out, the flames around him were pushed back. The large sword Shu Liguo formed charged out and closed in on Wang Lin. Coldness flashed across Wang Lin's eyes and he didn't even look at the giant sword. He waved his right hand and endless origin energy gathered before shooting at the giant sword coming at him. A rumbling sound echoed and the giant sword collapsed. Shu Liguo retreated in terror, but he was unwilling to give up. He let out a roar and Tihen turned into 9 big swords that formed a sword formation. The sword formation gave off a monstrous sword intent and charged at Wang Lin once more. Wang Lin nodded slightly. The current Shu Liguo barely met his requirements. He entered the sword formation, and casually grabbed one of the swords. He mercilessly squeezed it, and popping sounds echoed, and the remaining 8 swords all collapsed. However, the sword intent remained, and turned into 8 giant skulls that charged at Wang Lin. Interesting. Thunder flashed in Wang Lin's right eye, and endless thunder surrounded him. The thunder moved around like snakes, and the 8 skulls let out miserable screams and all exploded. Holding the large sword in his hand, Wang Lin used a bit more force, and cracking sounds came from the sword along with Shu Liguo's panicking voice. "Master! Master!" Little Shu was wrong. It wasn't intentional. I just haven't met my tall, mighty, handsome, confident, smart, brave, extraordinary, unparalleled, unique, surpasses all those behind and after, wise, bold, accomplished, elegant, handsome like a jade tree, loved by all, talented, great scholar, heaven-shaking cultivation, and amiable master. This little one has missed you a lot after all these years. Master finally remembered little Shu. I thought that master no longer wanted me. Master, please go easy. Go easy. Shu Liguo was timid by nature and was frightened out of his wits. He had said every single thing he could think of at once, and even Wang Lin was startled after hearing this. Shu Liguo felt death closing in once more. Wang Lin's hand was like the scythe that could harvest his soul. Just a bit more force, and it would crush his soul that was hidden inside the sword. 6,000 words in a major chapter, wishing for sharing, for likes on the video. Chapter 1110. Rain Celestial Realm opens once more. Shut up! Wang Lin frowned. Shu Liguo immediately stopped talking, but his sword body trembled as he thought, It's over. It's over. I must have been crazy to dare to attack this fiend. Shu Liguo, you re such a cunning devil, how could you be so impulsive? This refinement is over, and I'll see your performance from now on. If you dare to rebel again, I'll erase you. Wang Lin's voice was cold, but it was like a spring breeze that eased Shu Liguo's heart. He quickly said, Master really is Han. Without waiting for Shu Liguo to finish, Wang Lin waved his right hand and sent the sword into the spatial crack. He didn't want to listen to Shu Liguo's exaggerated flattery. After putting away Shu Liguo, Wang Lin took a step to the side and disappeared. Tashan was still sitting on a cultivation planet somewhere within the Vermilion Bird Divine sect. There were several beast skins beside him, and he continued to infuse tattoo power onto them. As he was drawing, Tashan's right hand trembled and he raised his head. Wang Lin had unknowingly appeared, and calmly looked at him. Tashan pondered a bit and bitterly said, Master. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and looked into the distance. After a long time he calmly said, You have regained your consciousness, so you don't need to call me master. Tashan's face became even more bitter, and then he softly said, It was Master who allowed me to survive until now. Tashan will never forget this. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he looked at Tashan and asked, When are you leaving? Tashan's body trembled as he looked up Wang Lin. After pondering for a bit, he let out a wry smile and said, How did Master see through me? You've been making talismans since you got here. If you didn't have a plan already, you wouldn't be doing this. This was the first time Wang Lin had met Tashan in a few years. Wang Lin also felt very complex about meeting his former celestial guard. Tashan nodded and whispered, I want to see my clan members back in Al Heaven. Master, aside from the talismans I made for myself, I also made 3 for you. They are Speed, Collapse, and Seal. As he spoke, he took out 3 beast skins and respectfully handed them to Wang Lin. These 3 talismans were made with very rare hides. The amount of effort that went into making them was several times higher than normal. Wang Lin looked at Tashan as he took the 3 talismans and said the Alliance Star system is very chaotic right now. Be careful on your trip. Tashan looked at Wang Lin and nodded. If you see the disciple I took on planet Qinling, then please help me take care of him. Wang Lin took another look at Tashan before leaving. It wasn't until Wang Lin left that Tashan silently knelt down and kowtowed once toward Wang Lin. Then he put away all the beast skins, took a deep breath, and flew into the sky. Situ naturally had to go on this trip to the Rain Celestial Realm to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. The poison in his body hadn't been completely forced out, and if there was no antidote, it would cause trouble later on. Situ Nan had already arrived next to where the 35 elders were, and was standing next to one of them. This was the elder that was helping Situ Nan expel the poison. Situ Nan sat there with a serious expression, but he had already made up his mind. If he gets the poison removed, he is going to drag Wang Lin to planet Feng Luan to get revenge. He was going to return all the suffering he had to endure from the female cultivators on planet Feng Luan. There were some abandoned planets in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect that weren't suited for people to live on. They were filled with poisonous gas, and the flames made the poison even more intense. At this moment, Wang Lin appeared next to one of these abandoned planets. There were no plants and almost all life had extinguished. There was only a black desert that gave off intense heat. When you stood on this black desert, you could feel the traces of poison mixed in with the heat. The black desert wasn't flat. It had ups and downs, and even mountains. There was a mountain before Wang Lin. It was completely black, and the heat waves caused Wang Lin's white hair to flow in the wind. Wang Lin clasped his hands and said, "Wang Lin greets Senior Celestial Cloud Couple." The moment his voice came out, a ray of sword energy came out from the mountain and shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't retreat but smiled as he looked at the sword energy. The sword energy closed in and turned into a person. This person looked middle-aged and was very handsome but a bit pale. When he looked at Wang Lin, he also had a smile on his face. "Wang Lin, the two seniors already knew you'd come, so come down with me." This man was Zhou Yi. There was no need to talk about their relationship. With a smile, the two of them stepped into the mountain and went down. This mountain was extremely deep, and intense heat waves came from within. Wang Lin naturally didn't care, and he looked at Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi looked normal and whispered, "When I first came here, I really wasn't used to it, but now it's no problem." Zhou Yi hesitated a bit, but still asked, "Wang Lin, I heard you came this time became you plan to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor." Wang Lin shook his head, as he looked at Zhou Yi with a look of respect and said, "In addition to saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, there is also the matter with Celestial Emperor Qinglin. Only by awakening Qinglin can Celestial Lord Qing Shuang revive." After Zhou Yi heard this, excitement filled his face. He looked at Wang Lin and gratefully said, "Thank you." Wang Lin's expression became complicated, and he shook his head. Zhou Yi was startled and immediately thought of something. His expression became bleak, and as he descended with Wang Lin, he said, "You and I are very alike, but I have you to help me. While you have no one to help you, Big Brother Zhou is powerless to help you." Wang Lin silently pondered and didn't say more. Not long after, the two arrived at the bottom. The bottom had been changed completely by someone with a powerful spell. This was like a different world separated from the poison. It was like the Garden of Eden. A small river flowed to an unknown location with several wooden huts near it. There were even fields of green with a few blooming flowers. Wang Wei was sitting on the side of the river, smiling at his lover, Hu Huan, on the other side. Hu Huan was like a child with her feet in the river, occasionally kicking up a wave. After Wang Lin and Zhou Yi entered the barrier, Wang Lin clasped his hands and respectfully said, "Junior Wang Lin greets two seniors." Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Tell me the reason you asked me to sneak attack Li Yunzi. Otherwise, I won't let you off so easily." Hu Huan on the other side of the river smiled as she moved her hair and said, "Wang Lin, he cares about this a lot. He feels it's embarrassing to sneak attack a junior with his status as a senior." Wang Lin smiled. Wang Wei and Hu Huan had become very close to him after what happened at the Demon Spirit Land. They no longer regarded him as an outsider. Wang Wei probably didn't care that much about sneak attacking Li Yunzi. Since he was asked, Wang Lin explained a bit, and Wang Wei no longer cared about it after listening to the reason. Back in the Demon Spirit Land, Junior heard Celestial Emperor Qinglin's last words. Rain Celestial Realm Temple, Origin Soul Crystal, and Qing Shuang's body. Junior has two of them, but the Rain Celestial Realm Temple. Wang Lin paused here and looked at Wang Wei. Wang Wei's expression became serious and he nodded. "During these years I have thought about it, and there was indeed a temple. It was where Master became the Celestial Emperor. I also told you about this matter before, so you coming here now means." Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin silently pondered before telling them about how the old Divine Emperor had taken the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal. Wang Wei became serious after hearing this, and even Hu Huan stopped playing in the river. She put on her shoes and came next to Wang Wei. The two of them looked at each other, and Wang Wei said, "The two of us will remember the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor's kindness. if the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor is really trapped in the Rain Celestial Realm. The two of us will help rescue him to repay the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor's favor of getting the Rain Celestial Realm crystal. Wang Lin nodded. Wang Wei and Hu Huan tidied up a bit and, along with Zhou Yi, left with Wang Lin. As for Qing Lin's body, Wang Wei was holding it. On the formation on the main Vermilion Bird planet, everyone was silently waiting. At this moment, 4 rays of light closed in and arrived at the formation, revealing Wang Lin, Wang Wei, and company. Wang Lin stepped into the center of the formation and sat down without wasting time. His eyes shined and he shouted, "Open the formation." With that, his right hand reached at the void and a crack appeared. A crystal, filled with celestial spiritual energy, flew out. At the same time, the 10,000 sect members opened their eyes, and their origin energy went into the formation. The formation below them immediately began to flash. The moment the light reached a certain degree of brightness, it began to gather under the elders. All the elders formed a seal and activated their energy like crazy. All the origin energy from the disciples were split into 35 portions and moved straight toward the crystal before Wang Lin at the center of the formation. In an instant, the crystal shined brightly, and an unimaginable quantity of celestial spiritual energy filled the area. A pillar of celestial spiritual energy shot into the sky, and ripples spread out in all directions. A thunderous rumble echoed as the door to the Rain Celestial Realm slowly appeared above the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect planet. At this moment, all the cultivators who had reached a certain cultivation felt this fluctuation. Those who are familiar could tell that the Rain Celestial Realm had opened. At the same time, the rain furnaces appeared across the Alliance star system. However, Al-Heaven, the Corpse sect, and the various Alliance forces had already gathered around planet Suzaku. Although they were shocked, they didn't have time to worry about this. People with our cultivation level will make the Rain Celestial Realm unstable and collapse on a large scale. We must quickly rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. After Wang Lin spoke, he charged toward the Rain Celestial Realm gate. Behind him, the 35 elders, Si Tunan, Wang Wei, Huan, and others all followed. Another person who Wang Lin was too busy to pay attention to also charged toward the Rain Celestial Realm. That person was the Silver Female Corpse. At the same time, on a remote, abandoned planet in the northern region of the Alliance, the planet shook violently and split open in a cross. An old man with white hair floated out with his hair covering his face. There was a crystal light flashing before him. It was a rain furnace. Wang Lin, you can escape my calculations. At this moment, a gust of wind blew away the messy hair on the old man's face, revealing him to be all-seer. Nearly 3,800 words, already quite long. Day by day people say it's short. Look at others. All are 2,000 words a chapter. Leo is that long. Wouldn't you cast a like for Leo's video? Chapter 1111. 20 Sen. The sun rose early in the morning, and the sunlight dispersed the darkness. The people that work up early cause the city of Flowing Cloud to become lively. Shops opened one by one, and the food street on the west side was especially filled with people shouting. The fried dough coming out of the boiling oil, the white buns revealed in the steam baskets, and tofu with other snacks made this street very lively. Sang Shuishen's stall was selling wine. Even though it was morning, their Sang family's wine was light and refreshing. Drinking it in the morning wouldn't make you drunk. Instead, it made people feel refreshed, so it was quite popular. Sang Shuishan, who was about 50 years old, stood on the side with a pipe while looking at the server that was busy working. A smile appeared on his face filled with wrinkles. A middle-aged man who had just bought a jug of wine shook it before taking a big gulp. He smiled at Old Man Sang and said, "Uncle Sang, your wine isn't as tasty as before. Are you missing ingredients?" Old Man Sang's eyes widened as he smoked the pipe and snorted. "Nonsense, my Sang family's wine." Before Old Man Sang finished speaking, the middle-aged man laughed. "Your Sang family's wine has been passed down for thousands of years. It was said that it even caught the fancy of an immortal. Uncle Sang, you say those words almost every day. I still have to go to work, so I don't have time to listen to your long-winded speech." The middle-aged man took the wine with a smile and left. Old Man Sang took a big drag of his pipe and muttered, "What does a little brat know? My Sang family's wine was indeed drunk by a celestial for more than 60 years 1,000 years ago. He still had a few wooden carvings that were more than 1,000 years old." These were carvings of the Sing family's first-generation ancestor in flowing Cloud City and a blurry-faced immortal. There was a legend that was passed down for generations within their Sing family. The legend was that their Sing family wasn't originally from flowing Cloud City, but had moved here during a snowstorm disaster. The rumor had it that their ancestor lived with that immortal for more than 60 years, and that the immortal was the benefactor who helped them move here. Ancestor Seng Danyu lived to the age of 137. Even before death, he still remembered that immortal. This story has been passed down for generations, so how can it be fake? Old Man Seng narrowed his eyes and tapped his pipe on the ground. He looked extremely proud. However, he quickly rubbed his eyes and carefully looked at the sky, and his mouth widened. The sky was originally clear, and the sun shined brightly. However, large ripples appeared in the sky and swept across the entire sky. Thunderous rumbles echoed, causing the lively street to immediately quiet down. Everyone looked up at the sky, and panic appeared in their eyes. Shortly after, as the ripples passed, rays of light appeared in the sky and descended like meteors. These rays of light easily broke through the atmosphere and turned into cultivators. Immortals! The mortals on the ground all exclaimed and began to tremble. Some immediately hid inside their houses and didn't dare to come out. Don't disturb these mortals. Quickly gather in the Sea of Devils. A commanding voice echoed like thunder. At the same time, the cultivators that descended didn't stop and quickly flew off into the distance. At the same time, this same scene appeared all over planet Suzaku. This shocking change caused the mortal empires to panic. The mortals all trembled and didn't know what to do. Fortunately, those immortals didn't harm any of the mortals. The moment they appeared, they flew away. The native cultivators on planet Suzaku naturally saw this, but none of them dared to fly up and ask. Not even those at the soul formation or soul transformation stages dared. Any of the foreign cultivators flying across the sky was strong enough to make you tremble. There were some that could make you almost collapse with one gaze. Even the few ascendant cultivators on planet Suzaku looked at the sky with shock. Zhou Tai's expression was gloomy. Very few cultivators flying across the sky were ones he could deal with. As for the rest, just their auras were enough to make him gasp. Fortunately, even though there were many different forces among these cultivators, none of them bothered the native cultivators. They all charged toward the Sea of Devils. The entire sky was covered by rays of light, and a moment later, a giant shadow appeared in the sky. The sun in the sky was covered by a large shadow. At this moment, the entire planet was covered by a shadow. These shadows were the palaces from the Thunder Celestial Temple. They didn't descend onto planet Suzaku, they just orbited it. After all, planet Suzaku was half-wasted, so it couldn't withstand the powerful fluctuations from the palaces. Shortly after the shadows appeared, coffins began to descend. There were coffins of various sizes, and they were surrounded by many cultivators. As people flew toward the Sea of Devils, they naturally saw the huge statue on the ground. This was the statue in the Cloud Sky sect. An arrogant cultivator from Heaven saw that a tiny cultivation planet like this had dared to build such a statue. He felt like this statue looked familiar, but he didn't think too much about it. He let out a cold snort and was about to destroy it as he passed by. However, just as his right hand was about to descend, a feminine voice came from behind him. "Stop!" The cultivator was startled as he looked back and said, "Xi Zifeng, what is the meaning of this?" The woman who spoke was Xi Zifeng. She coldly looked at the arrogant cultivator and calmly said, "Take a closer look at who this statue is a carving of." With that, she disregarded the cultivator. Then she looked at the statue with a complex gaze and let out a sigh before flying away. The arrogant cultivator frowned and carefully looked at the statue. The more he looked at it, the more familiar it looked. Then his eyes opened wide and he gasped, "This is Thunder Celestial Shu Mu." Although Heaven had already removed Wang Lin's right as Thunder Celestial, Wang Lin's battle for the title was famous. It was not something that would be forgotten in short few hundred years of time. This arrogant cultivator's scalp went numb. He knew that Shumu's Taoist name was Master Devil, and it was not something he could forget. He also felt that destroying someone's statue was a bit pointless, so he turned and quickly left. Master Flamespark and company, along with people of the Corpse sect, also noticed this. After orders were sent out, no one else dared to think about destroying the statue. The Corpse sect, Heaven, and the various powers of the Alliance all gathered on planet Suzaku. They all quickly gathered at the Sea of Devils based on the information they were given. Planet Suzaku wasn't very big, so they quickly rushed toward the Sea of Devils. In truth, no side had sent many cultivators to Planet Suzaku. In total, there were about 7,000 cultivators. They were the first wave to check the area. After all, although the credibility of Wang Lin's information was high, they still had to verify it. Even more cultivators were floating outside Planet Suzaku. They were all in their own groups, waiting for the news from the first wave. All the restrictions blocking the path to the land of the ancient god were nothing in these cultivators' eyes. They all charged through and arrived past the chaotic broken stars at the entrance to the land of the ancient god. Ferocious roars came out from the oval-shaped entrance to the land of the ancient god. The first trial to enter the land of the ancient god was the dark abyss filled with floating boulders. However, at this moment, all the boulders collapsed and pairs of ferocious eyes lit up. This place was where Wang Lin almost died, and where the Thunder Toad appeared, and it was now filled with countless ferocious beasts. They were silently waiting. Roars came out from the oval in the Sea of Devils that led to the land of the ancient god. The surrounding cultivators paused for a moment, but they didn't stop. They all stepped into the oval. When the first cultivators appeared, a ray of red light charged out from the bottom of the endless abyss. Just as a cultivator was about to move, a flash of red lightning came out from below and landed on them. This person's body trembled and he was numb for a moment. Just at this moment, a red light closed in. It was a red python almost 10,000 feet long, and it immediately devoured the cultivator. This action was a signal to start the slaughter. Many ferocious beasts charged out and began a life and death battle with the cultivators that entered. At this moment, blood fell like rain in this abyss and aroused the ferocious nature of the beasts. As the fighting continued, the fluctuations of origin energy gradually spread to the depths of the abyss that not even Wang Lin had explored. Two blood-red eyes looked up at the cultivators above. At the same time, within the sea of blood deep within the land of the ancient god, the red-haired Tuo Sen was sitting on top of a pillar. His finger was sliding on the ground, making a harsh sound. He slowly raised his head, revealed a smile. Then he raised his right hand and mercilessly grasped. The last day of June, wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. A sweep of the like button for the VIDEO each month. The June ticket expires tonight at 12. Chapter 1112. The Call for Help in the Rain Celestial Realm. With this grasp, waves were set off in the Sea of Blood. The raging Sea of Blood released a heaven-shaking roar. The blood-red sky beside Tuo Sen twisted as if a powerful force was going to break out. Then the space was torn open. This crack was more than 100,000 feet long, and a killing intent that seemed to have been suppressed for countless years was allowed to vent for the first time. The killing intent was enough to make the entire Sea of Blood tremble. A pressure came out of the crack, and the Sea of Blood no longer raged, as the pressure pushed it away. Bursts of lighting came out and lingered around the crack. Tuo Sen raised his head, revealing a cruel expression, and said, "Royal clan treasure god slaying spear, in the name of Tuo Sen, descend." After he spoke, roars came out from the crack, and as the lightning flashed, a ray of red light shot out toward Tuo Sen's right hand. Tuo Sen grabbed it. This red light struggled for a moment and then stopped struggling. It turned into a crimson-red spear that was 1,000 feet long. There were arcs of lightning around it, and it gave off an unimaginable aura. Holding the spear, Tuo Sen revealed a bloodthirsty smile and mercilessly threw it. There was a heaven-shaking explosion when the god-slaying spear pierced through the sky of this blood-red world. The sky seemed like it was going to collapse. The moment the spear pierced through the blood-red world, it moved even faster and penetrated many of the locations in the land of the ancient god until it reached the abyss. It was too fast and contained an aura that would shock even Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The spear appeared as a red flash and moved like a dragon toward the cultivators fighting against the fierce beasts. These cultivators all trembled the moment the god-slaying spear appeared. Miserable screams echoed before they had time to react. However, as the red light flashed, all the cultivators that got close collapsed into a rain of blood, but this blood didn't scatter. It was all absorbed by the red light. No cultivator could resist the god-slaying spear, and in a flash, more than half of the thousands of cultivators that had entered died. The remaining few were being attacked by the countless fierce beasts. Only a bit more than 1,000 cultivators rapidly spread out in a panic. The god-slaying spear surrounded by the red light didn't go after the cultivators that scattered. Instead, it charged toward the oval entrance and charged out. The moment it left the land of the ancient god and appeared in the Sea of Devils, the entire planet trembled. An indescribable aura suddenly appeared. All the origin energy before it was forced back, as if wherever the god-slaying spear existed, origin energy wasn't allowed to exist. The red light shined brightly, and the god-slaying spear shot out from the Sea of Devils. The ray of red light shot into the sky and the atmosphere disintegrated before the spear, allowing it to enter space without any resistance. After tens of thousands of years, the weapon of the royal ancient god clan appeared once more. The forces outside planet Suzaku all felt this heaven-shaking aura. Just as they were about to act, the god-slaying spear closed in on one of all heaven's thunder celestial temple palaces. There was a flash of red light as the god-slaying spear pierced the palace. The palace trembled and shattered into countless pieces. The god-slaying spear didn't stop. It pierced through all the palaces from all heaven, causing them to collapse. Even the corpse sect suffered a huge blow. All the coffins collapsed one by one before the god-slaying spear. Even the corpse puppets inside turned to dust. The alliance forces suffered greatly. The god-slaying spear went through the crowds and miserable screams echoed. Anyone who got close was immediately killed. Among them was a Nirvana Shatterer old woman from the alliance side. This old woman thought she could stop this god-slaying spear for a moment with her early-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivation and used a spell. However, the god-slaying spear ignored all spells and directly pierced through her chest. Her eyes were filled with disbelief when she looked down at the hole in her chest. A moment later, her body collapsed and even her origin soul dissipated. Master Flamespark's pupils shrank. Him and other elders flew out. The corpse sect also sent out cultivators to attack the god-slaying spear. Just as these cultivators were about to attack, the god-slaying spear turned around and returned to planet Suzaku. It returned to the Sea of Devils and disappeared back into the land of the ancient god. A hoarse voice echoed across the planet and into space when the god-slaying spear disappeared. "I'm waiting for all of you." It was completely silent as Master Flamespark and the elders revealed serious expressions. Some of the elders' faces became pale and there was a hint of disbelief in them. What is this? What that Wang Lin said was true. Master Flamespark's eyes shined. He had come because it was an order from the person in heaven he greatly respected. He had to come. After pondering for a bit, Master Flamespark shouted, "All cultivators, follow me to planet Suzaku." With that, he flew toward planet Suzaku. The elders and countless cultivators followed after him. The corpse sect pondered for a bit, and then a voice that sounded like stones rubbing echoed. "Corpse sect, head out!" The entire corpse sect moved. The swarm of cultivators with coffins flew toward planet Suzaku. The 8 people in front were surrounded by black fog and gave off a powerful pressure. The alliance forces pondered a bit and didn't send all their forces. Half the people remained, and the rest followed their respective elders toward planet Suzaku. At the same time, the existence at the bottom of the abyss, in the land of the ancient god that was awakened by the fluctuations of origin energy, slowly rose up. Its blurred figure was gradually revealed. Its figure wasn't very big, only 20 feet tall. It looked human-shaped, like a burly man. But what would make anyone gasp was this thing's neck. This neck had 18 branches that were as thick as pythons. It was as if it was made up of 18 pythons. There was a head on each branch. There were males and females, young and old. At a glance, this thing wasn't human, but a mysterious, ferocious beast. Legends about this beast existed, but they were not accurate, and this wasn't the only one of its kind. There was a spirit from ancient times called G, and it was shaped like a human. Instead of being born, it was created, and it became an adult after 3 days. It defied the heavens and died, and its head was cut off. A monster named Jikyong was born from its corpse. This beast was born with one head, and every time it devoured the world, it would gain another head and new spells. It dared to fight the world and could sleep for eternity. At this moment, inside the Rain celestial realm, compared to the land of the ancient god, everything here was peaceful aside from the cracks that appeared in the sky and the constant trembling from the earth. The cultivation levels of Wang Lin's group had completely surpassed what the Rain celestial realm could withstand. Just as they entered, one of the fragments collapsed, creating a huge suction that pulled the other fragments closer. Wang Lin stood at a high place and looked at the familiar Rain Celestial Realm fragments. His eyes shined as he recalled the past and gradually found the fragment where he once heard the call for help. 1. There were dozens of people around him, and they all looked at Wang Lin. They all had to follow Wang Lin's lead on this mission to rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. After all, he was the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, and most importantly, only Wang Lin knew where the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was trapped. Wang Lin's body moved. A thunderous rumble was created when he charged downward. No one hesitated to follow after Wang Lin. It was impossible to stay here for too long, or else it would cause the Rain Celestial Realm to collapse on a wide scale. By then, forget saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, it would be impossible to save Qing Lin too. Therefore, they had to be fast. Everyone here knew this. Wang Lin moved quickly, but didn't he use his full speed? He flew in a very gentle manner in order to not trigger the collapse of the Rain Celestial Realm. They didn't meet any cultivators along the way. Even if any cultivators had come via the rain furnaces, once they saw the situation here and realized how unstable it was, they would all choose to leave in terror. Not much time had passed when even more cracks appeared in the Rain Celestial Realm. Rumbling sounds could be heard from afar, and another fragment collapsed. Wang Lin arrived on the fragment where he once heard the cry for help. He clearly remembered that the call for help came from a mountain that looked like a lock. After landing on the fragment, his divine sense spread out, and he immediately found that mountain about 5,000 kilometers away. Wang Lin quickly flew toward that direction. He got closer and closer. The Azure Dragon Divine Sect elders behind Wang Lin were filled with excitement. They had waited for this day for far too long. The higher their expectations, the more they were afraid of disappointment. At this moment, their hearts were filled with worry and even their Tao hearts had become unstable. A moment later, the lock-shaped mountain appeared in everyone's eyes. It was here that I heard the call for help. Wang Lin pointed forward. The Azure Dragon Divine Sect elders charged out toward the mountain. Save me, a very weak voice echoed as they got close to the mountain. Wang Lin immediately stopped, but everyone around him seemed to have not heard it at all. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he said, "Do you guys hear a call for help?" 1. Chapter 297. Credit to user Zorandis for finding this. In dreams, Leo sees his video standing in 3rd place on the popular charts. Hoping to garner more fan support and looking for help from you all to climb even higher in the rankings this month. Chapter. The Rain Celestial Realm was covered in mist, and dust covered the sky, making the whole place look fuzzy. Many spatial cracks appeared and sucked in some of that dust. There were muffled rumbles coming from the distance. The dust began to move as if wind was blowing it. Aside from these sounds, the entire Rain Celestial Realm was silent. When Wang Lin's voice echoed, even the Azure Dragon Divine Sect elders paused. Everyone looked at Wang Lin. A white-haired elder from the Azure Dragon Divine Sect said, "Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, what did you hear?" Wang Lin frowned and began to listen carefully. The call for help was like a gentle breeze that blew by. It was obvious that no one other than him could hear this cry for help. Situnan understood Wang Lin the most. Seeing Wang Lin frown, he calmly said, "There was no sound. It might have been an illusion." "No problem." Wang Lin shook his head and didn't mention it anymore. The elders from the Azure Dragon Divine Sect looked at each other but didn't speak. They jumped straight toward the mountain. Everyone else followed after them. Wang Lin kept frowning as he stared at the mountain that got closer and closer. If not for the information left on the shield, Wang Lin wouldn't have thought that the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was trapped here. However, as he got closer and closer, the unease in his heart increased for some unknown reason. Just at this moment, one of the excited voices of a trembling elder of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect echoed. "It's the Divine Emperor! Look at this handprint. It was created by the Azure Dragon Divine Sect's spell, the Azure Wood print." The elder floated in the air and looked excitedly at the place covered in grass. After he spoke, the remaining elders of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect closed in and looked at the handprint that was deeply imprinted in the withered grass. "Open this mountain and save the Divine Emperor." The elders spread out, and the lead elder's hands formed a seal that caused the fragment to tremble. Large amounts of origin energy appeared when they revealed their nirvana shadow cultivation. At the same time, the images of several azure dragons appeared and surrounded the mountain. It was as if they were going to pull this mountain up from the ground. "Rise!" The elder of the azure dragon divine sect shouted as the rumbling echoed. The mountain trembled and large amount of rocks fell off it. Waves of dust were kicked into the air as the roar of the azure dragons echoed. Those dragons that were wrapped around the mountain had actually lifted it up by several inches. The elders of the black tortoise divine sect and the white tiger divine sect flew over. Their hands formed seals and an unimaginable amount of origin energy appeared. The shadows of black tortoises appeared behind these elders and went under the mountain to raise it higher. The elders from the white tiger divine sect landed and used spells to raise the mountain. The mountain rose higher and higher, causing the earth to tremble even more violently. Muffled roars echoed across the sky. The elders of the vermilion bird sect were no exception. They flew over and were about to use spells to help raise the mountain completely. Just at this moment, a ray of golden light came from the mountain and directly pierced through it. Then another ray of golden light pierced out from the mountain and lit up the whole area. In the blink of an eye, countless rays of golden light shine out from the mountain and made the mountain look like a sun. A large, golden lock appeared around the mountain. It was a shocking sight. The lock was 100,000 feet long and was covered in complex runes that flashed repeatedly. A powerful pressure spread out from the lock, and the elders of the four divine sect were immediately pushed back. At this moment, Wang Wei and Hu Huan looked at the golden lock and were filled with shock. They looked at each other once again to determine they didn't see wrong. After hesitating for a bit, they didn't waste time and quickly retreated. Without the spells, the mountain slowly descended once more. Gather all the might of the four divine sect. There is no need to destroy this mountain, just raise it 70 feet. This lock was set by Celestial Emperor Qing Lin not to seal me, but for something else. You must not allow the other thing to escape. At this moment, a weak but anxious cry came out from under the mountain. This time, it wasn't only Wang Lin who heard it. Everyone heard this cry for help. The Azure Dragon Divine Sect elders trembled violently. One of the oldest elders shouted excitedly, "Divine Emperor!" This is voice of the Divine Emperor. Wang Lin looked back at Wang Wei and Hu Huan before clasping his hands. I asked the two seniors to help. The two pondered a bit before Wang Wei let out a sigh and slowly said, "This formation indeed has Master S aura. Forget it." As he spoke, he waved his sleeve and clouds appeared under his feet and carried him toward the golden lock. Hu Huan let out a sigh and followed after Wang Wei. The two of them closed in on the golden lock. "We can only open this lock for one breath of time, so you all must be quick." As they spoke, a large amount of restrictions appeared around Hu Huan. Those restrictions gave off a ghostly light that immediately charged at the golden lock. Wang Wei waved his right hand, and a mist appeared before him. The mist divided into countless parts and surrounded each of Hu Huan's restrictions. At this moment, the surrounding elders of the four divine sect didn't hesitate. The Azure Dragon Divine Sect elders quickly formed seals to use their spells. The elders of the remaining three sects all took out various treasures. This was the power of 35 Nirvana Shatterer elders. Not to mention this mountain, the entire unstable rain celestial realm would collapse instantly before this power. Everything was prepared. They were just waiting for the moment the golden lock opened. The couple took deep breaths and sat down in the air. Both formed a seal and pointed at the golden lock. The restrictions surrounded by the water mist unexpectedly formed a giant key. The key charged at the golden lock. In the blink of an eye, the key broke through layers of golden light and went into the lock. The light from the golden lock suddenly disappeared. At this moment, not a trace of the golden light remained. Wang Wei suddenly shouted, "Quickly, rescue him!" A breath of time was only a blink of an eye, but for Nirvana Shatterer old monsters, it was enough to use a spell. Rays of spells shot toward the mountain, and, in an instant, started to raise the mountain. As the mountain rumbled, it was raised inch by inch. This mountain was refined by Celestial Emperor Qing Lin, so it was not ordinary. Even without the golden lock, raising it was not simple. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. In the blink of an eye, the mountain was raised 50 feet. The more it was raised, the greater the pressure became. When it was raised to more than 60 feet but just short of 70 feet, a breath of time passed. The golden light appeared once, and the giant lock appeared once more. The key collapsed and Wang Wei and Hu Huan were forced back by the light. The golden lock appeared once more, and its pressure increased several fold. The 35 Nirvana Shatterer old monsters struggled to hold against this pressure. At this moment, a shout came from the bottom of the mountain, and a ray of green light struggled to come out. There was an old man in an extremely sorry state with ripped clothes inside the green light. Although he was in a sorry state, his face was filled with excitement as he rushed out. At this moment, the wind surged in the sky above this fragment. The clouds split apart and a person appeared. This person wore white and looked a bit old, but his eyes felt like they contained the world. Just as he appeared, he caused the collapse of the rain celestial realm to become even more intense. Looks like I arrived at the right time. This old man was the All-Seer. The moment he appeared, he charged toward the mountain. Wang Lin suddenly looked up. He had a bad feeling this whole time, but he didn't know if it was coming from the mountain or from outside. This was why he didn't personally act. At the moment, he saw the All-Seer, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Flames filled his left eye and thunder flashed through his right eye. A ball of fire and a ball of thunder appeared before him and immediately shot at the All-Seer. At the same time, Wang Wei and Hu Huan both used spells against the All-Seer. The All-Seer waved his sleeves, causing a surge of origin energy, and 3 avatars appeared. When Wang Wei and Hu Huan's spells got close, one of the avatars revealed a strange smile. This avatar formed a seal and a destructive aura appeared in his body. Then he unexpectedly chose to self-destruct. A thunderous rumble echoed, and All-Seer's avatar's self-destruction immediately spread. If that was it, it wouldn't be an issue. But at this moment, the other 2 avatars also revealed strange smiles and also self-destructed. From yesterday until now, Leo has only slept for 2 hours. Can't take it anymore. Today there's only the first watch. Leo wants to catch up on sleep. After the salon ends, the missing chapters will be compensated. Chapter. The self-destruction of the 3 avatars caused an unimaginable impact. The earth trembled even more violently, and the fragment everyone was on began to collapse on a larger scale. The collapse of the fragment caused large amounts of cracks to appear on the ground. Wang Lin, this old man will help you save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. The All-Seer laughed as he used the self-destruction of his 3 avatars to push Wang Wei and Hu Huan back, making it so Wang Lin couldn't get close. He charged directly into the 35 Nirvana Shatterer elders, and, using the moment where they couldn't be distracted, unexpectedly charged into the mountain. At the same time, a rumbling sound came from the mountain. Even with the pressure of the golden lock, it didn't continue to sink but was pushed up 30 feet more. As a result, this mountain had been raised more than 70 feet, reaching 100 feet. The old man that struggled out from the green light looked at the All-Seer with a strange light in his eyes, but he didn't speak. He immediately charged out from the bottom of the mountain. As soon as he came out, he shouted, "All members of the 4 divine sect, use all your spells to destroy this mountain." With that, he raised his right hand and mercilessly slammed down. An azure dragon more than 100,000 feet large appeared and gave off an ancient aura. The dragon opened its mouth and spewed out green gas at the mountain. The surrounding 4 divine sect elders didn't hesitate to use their spells and bombard the mountain. At this moment, even more cracks appeared on the fragment, and it began to collapse even more intensely. More spatial cracks appeared as if they were going to devour the world. The rumbling was heaven shaking. Under the attack of the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor and the Elders' bombardment, large amounts of rocks fell off. Even the golden lock became unstable. As this went on, the expression of the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor became uglier. Just at this moment, a laugh came from the mountain and a crack appeared from its center. The All-Seer charged out from the mountain and revealed a rare look of excitement. He held a fist-sized blob of black blood as he charged into the sky laughing. The golden lock suddenly turned into a ray of light and followed the All-Seer. It landed on the black blood in his hand as if it was sealing it. However, the All-Seer didn't care about it at all. As he charged out, he mercilessly slammed down on the ground below him. The rumbling became even louder, and the collapsing fragment collapsed even faster. A giant vortex appeared on the bottom and annihilated everything that was sucked in. Thanks to that slam, it wasn't just this fragment collapsing. The entire unstable rain celestial realm began its final collapse. Muffled rumbles came from the heavens and earth. The rain celestial realm was beginning to collapse just like the thunder celestial realm. Wang Lin, I have to thank you for everything you've done. Someday, if we are fated, we will meet again. At that time, this old man will have become the heavenly Tao. The Alzer laughed like crazy and was about to escape when the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, who had just escaped, revealed a cold gaze. His right hand formed a seal and pointed up. The Azure Dragon behind him opened its mouth and let out a roar. Then the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor lowered his hand and the Azure Dragon charged out in an attempt to devour the Alzer. The moment the Azure Dragon charged out, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor hit his own chest with his right hand and coughed out blood. The blood turned into a sword that entered the Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon was immediately covered in a bloodlight. It caught up to the Alzer in an instant and devoured him. A thunderous rumble echoed across the heavens and earth. The dragon dissipated, and the Alzer's body was thrown out and 2 of his seals had been opened. Blood was coming from the corner of his mouth as he stared at the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor with smiled and said in a hoarse voice, "You are worthy of being the 4 divine sect's strongest divine emperor. I am happy to experience it." Then the Alzer's body flickered, and he quickly fled. The surrounding Nirvana Shatter elders were about to pursue when the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor shook his head and shouted, "Let him go! That person's cultivation level is hidden too well. If we force him into a corner, the death count will be too high. It's not worth it. Besides, I have been trapped for too long and I am all spent." After he spoke, all the elders of 4 divine sect nodded in agreement. The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's gaze fell on Wang Lin, and he slowly asked, "You read the new vermilion bird?" Wang Lin nodded and clasped his hands. "Greetings, Azure Dragon Divine Emperor." The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor carefully looked at Wang Lin and nodded after a long time. "The 4 divine sect is connected by blood, so I want to be saying my thanks." Wang Lin frowned and calmly said, "What was that thing the All-Seer took from under the mountain?" The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's gaze fell on Wang Wei and Hu Huan. His pupil shrank and he slowly said, "Heavenly Tao blood." "Heavenly Tao blood?" Wang Lin gasped. "I came with Master Xuanzhong and them as the first wave right when the Rain Celestial Realm collapsed. I originally came for the inheritances of treasure and spells, but I found a lot of strange things. The Celestial Realm was destroyed due to these mysterious things. As the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor spoke, the area began to collapse even more intensely. Everyone quickly flew upward. This lock mountain was placed here by Celestial Emperor Qing Lin, and a crack appeared on it when the Rain Celestial Realm collapsed. I was brought here by Master Xuanzong to enter together. An accident happened and I was trapped inside, unable to escape. Due to the existence of this seal, only a special kind of person could hear my cry for help." When the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor said this, he looked at Wang Lin. "Although I was trapped, I found that blob of blood at the bottom of the mountain. It was what Qing Lin had sealed. After studying for a long time, I still don't know its origin. However, my 4th heaven's blight descended. In that moment of crisis, I devoured the blood. There was a trace of fear in the Azure Divine Emperor's eyes. Just one mouthful made me unconscious, and when I awakened, the 4th heaven's blight had passed. However, there was no origin energy under that seal, so my 4th heaven's blight cultivation was empty and I still wasn't able to escape. I could only slowly waste away under the seal." As Wang Lin flew, he asked, "What is heavenly Tao blood?" He felt that its aura was somewhat familiar. It vaguely felt like the blood rust on the iron sword. It also contained an aura similar to the crystals he found in the skull of that 8-star ancient god. "You have to ask people of the Celestial Emperor about this." The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's gaze fell on Wang Wei and Hu Huan. So it was like this. Wang Wei muttered, and he revealed a bitter expression. He had always guessed the reason why the Celestial Realm had collapsed. Now that he had heard the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's words, he was a bit more certain about his speculation. On the side, Hu Huan softly said, "About 100 years before the calamity, a blood-like red rain that contained a strange force fell from the sky in the Rain Celestial Realm. Master called it Heavenly Tao blood." Wang Wei said, "No one knew what Heavenly Tao was, but Master guessed that the Heavenly Tao was a living creature. Since the time of the ancient Celestial Realm, rumor has it that the Heavenly Tao was already dead. If it wasn't dead, it was seriously injured. What fell into the Rain Celestial Realm was Heavenly Tao blood. Master collected all the blood and refined it until it was only the size of a fist. During that period of time, Master found people who devoured it, but all those who devoured it immediately turned into a pool of blood and died. Afterward, no one else dared to devour it. After that, Wang Wei looked at the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor with a strange gaze. Wang Lin's heart was shocked as he listened to these things he had never heard of before and gasped. Master believed that if the heavenly Tao blood fell into my reign's celestial realm, then what fell in the other celestial realms were the other parts of the heavenly Tao. Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin and explained, "It is indeed too shocking. But if you think of the heavenly Tao as a person who was seriously injured and had his body torn apart to the point that even his origin soul was shattered into countless pieces, and it all fell, then you understand, although I don't agree with this point of view, it was mere guess from Master after studying the blood." While talking, everyone continued to fly into the air until they arrived at the platform where the gate of the Rain Celestial Realm was. After they landed, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor said, "That cultivator that stole the heavenly Tao blood seemed to understand it very well. However, he doesn't know that I have already devoured half of it. The reason it is still the same size is because half of it is my own blood. I want to see how he will cultivate with it." The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor revealed a dark expression and a strange smile. When everyone saw this smile, their hearts turned cold. "New Vermilion Bird, follow me back to the Four Divine Sect and tell me what happened to the Four Divine Sect. Since only you came today, that means the rest of the Four Divine Emperors have already died." The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's voice was calm, and there was no fluctuation in his mood. Wang Lin calmly took a step back as he got closer to Wang Wei and Hu Huan. He respectfully said, "Senior Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, Junior still has an important matter to deal with, and can return to the Four Divine Sect anytime soon." "Oh?" The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor looked at Wang Lin, and Wang Lin calmly looked back. After a moment, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor nodded and said, "That! Fine." With that, he turned around and directly headed toward the giant Rain Celestial Realm gate. The elders of the Four Divine Sect all followed. Only a few individuals looked back, but they all left without any hesitation. Even the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect elders were the same. "New Vermilion Bird, remember to return the holy treasure when you come back." From far away came the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's voice that contained no emotion. Aimlessly wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 111, Untitled. There were a total of 7 tokens. Wang Lin got 2 from Lishan, 1 from the Piao Miao sect, 1 from the He Wan sect, and 1 from the Xuan Dao sect. In total, he had 5. Ignoring the one that belonged to the Corpse sect, there was still 1 more remaining. Wang Lin pondered for a while. He had already found all of the sects in the Juming Valley, but he still hadn't found the last token. Of course, that didn't rule out the fact that someone could have hidden one somewhere. He wasn't going to bother searching for it. After all, he already had 5 of the 7 tokens, which was enough to secure his spot in the foreign battleground. After he stopped wondering about the token, he started thinking about the battle in 2 months. First were his cyan grains of rice. He had already recovered the one he used earlier, and now had 3 in total once again. One was a single grain, while the other 2 were supercharged grains from fusing 2 normal ones. After carefully putting away the 3 grains, Wang Lin pondered a bit and started looking through his bags. He had killed quite a few people recently, so he still had a lot of stuff to go through. After searching for a long time, Wang Lin took out a round bead. This bead was only 1/10 the size of a fist. It was very smooth, without any designs on it, and there were some cracks on the side. After picking up the bead, he couldn't help but think of the strange man named Adai. This was the first gift Adai had given him. He looked at the bead as his eyes lit up. After a long time, his mouth curved upwards as he let out a cold smile. He put the bead back into his bag of holding, took a deep breath, and spat out a green light. The green flying sword floated before him, motionless. Wang Lin felt like ever since his spiritual energy changed, there was something constantly obstructing his control of the flying sword. It was not easy as before. Although the flying sword's power had increased greatly, a flying sword he couldn't fully control was not something he would allow. Therefore, Wang Lin decided to use this time to refine the flying sword again. Both of his hands formed a seal as he sent out spiritual energy to surround the flying sword. Then, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out a gourd. The flying sword was his blood-refined weapon, so he was willing to expend a lot of resources on it. He clenched his teeth and poured out 1/3 of the liquid that was stored inside. Under Wang Lin's control, the spirit liquid filled with yin energy floated in the air and condensed to one droplet of water. The water droplet released waves of yin energy that covered the cave in frost. Wang Lin pointed at the water droplet, and the droplet immediately moved toward the flying sword. The droplet landed on the tip of the sword and rolled down the sword's blade, all the way down to end of the hilt. Soon, the flying sword became crystal clear. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He bit his tongue and spat out blood. As he spat out the blood, he waved his hand and the blood turned to mist, which then covered the flying sword that was covered in spirit liquid. The blood mist slowly entered the liquid. Soon, the spirit liquid that covered the flying sword was light red. Wang Lin took a few breaths. He spat out more blood as his hand created symbols. After each symbol was made, he would toss it at the flying sword. Gradually, more and more symbols appeared, and after a short while, all of the blood was used up. Wang Lin looked at the flying sword, and without a word, he hit his chest as the spiritual energy in his body surged. He pushed his chest inwards and spat out a bit of his essence blood. Wang Lin's face became pale, but he didn't hesitate as he drew a symbol with that blood. As more and more symbols appeared, along with the help of the essence blood, the spiritual liquid around the flying sword was already dark red and was even turning purple. After the last drop of blood gathered on the flying sword, Wang Lin concentrated and shouted, "Gather!" With a hum, the flying sword shook violently and started to tremble faster and faster. Wang Lin didn't panic as he looked at the flying sword. His hand was constantly forming seals. Shortly after, the spiritual energy surrounding the flying sword started to boil and release white smoke as if it were being baked. As more and more white smoke appeared, the amount of liquid decreased. Eventually, all of the liquid disappeared. Looking at the flying sword, although it was still green, there were red veins on its surface, and it was only half of its original size. What surprised Wang Lin the most was that the sword's hilt was almost completely gone. Before, the sword's hilt-to-blade ratio was 1:5, but now the ratio was 1:15. One could basically ignore the hilt at this point. What Wang Lin didn't know was that this flying sword that had been blood refined by him was slowly evolving. Once this evolution reaches the final phase, the flying sword will gain the G realm property and will become very powerful. Wang Lin tested the flying sword and found that it moved several times faster than before. When he used his full power, it was so fast that he couldn't keep track of it with his eyes anymore. Adding on to the flying sword's teleportation ability, this flying sword was a very terrifying existence. At the very least, if a core formation cultivator without a defensive treasure active were to be hit by the sword, whether or not they'd come out alive would be uncertain. This was the power of the G realm on a magic treasure. It allowed the magic treasure to break past its boundaries and reach an extreme. But when going against a nascent soul cultivator, it was still not enough. After all, Wang Lin was only at the foundation establishment stage. Even with the G realm, he was simply too weak. The G realm will only display its true power when Wang Lin breaks into the nascent soul stage. That is when the terror of the G realm commences. The current small green sword was even more delicate. Slivers of blue ice appeared and disappeared from the flying sword. It all looked very strange. Wang Lin swallowed the flying sword again. His eyes lit up as he calculated the time and found that he had spent 1 month refining the sword. Wang Lin decided to spend the remaining month cultivating inside the heaven-revolting bead. He was confident that he could break through to the mid-stage of foundation establishment by the end of the month. Wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter. Even when all the people of the Four Divine Sect had left, Wang Lin still silently stood on the platform. The collapse of the Rain Celestial Realm echoed in his ears, but compared to the complex feelings in his heart, the sound was very light. Saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was a way for him to repay the debt he owed the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. It allowed the Four Divine Sect to have a powerful cultivator to exist through the chaotic times to come. Aside from a few select elders, no one in the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect really regarded him as the Divine Emperor. They only saw him as a junior. Maybe the hearts of the juniors of the sect were more sincere. If Wang Lin had enough time, he would be able to slowly change this phenomenon. But due to the uneasiness Wang Lin felt from Tuo Sen, he didn't have the time. If he delayed it too much, it would only hurt the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect and he would fail the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. With the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's release, before the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor even tried to kill the All-Seer, Wang Lin already knew that the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was very cunning. He was not something Wang Lin could try to figure out. After hearing the matter about the Heavenly Tao, Wang Lin was extremely shocked. However, none of this could compare to the last words left by the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. What he said meant he had already seen through Wang Lin's thoughts. He didn't care about Wang Lin's identity as the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor at all. If he cared about anything, it was the holy treasure. This holy treasure can be temporarily left in your hands, but once you leave the Rain Celestial Realm, you must return it to the Four Divine Sect. I fear if it wasn't for the fact that there were too many elders and that he had just escaped, he wouldn't have waited for me to return it. He could have taken it right here. Wang Lin revealed a bitter expression. In truth, there was no need to talk about it, as this was how it should be. Since Wang Lin wasn't planning to become the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, there was no need to keep the holy treasure. In truth, Wang Lin didn't really care about this, but from beginning to end, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor unexpectedly didn't ask about the other three Divine Emperors. Not only that, he spoke about the deaths of the three Divine Emperors as if it was an ordinary matter. Wang Lin felt extremely complex about this. Forget the fact that the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor had suffered countless years of pain to keep the Four Divine Sect alive. The White Tiger Divine Emperor had died fighting the enemy, and to his day the whereabouts of his body were unknown. To the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, these all seemed to be ordinary matters. There was no need to know about them. Situnan let out a sigh as he walked up and patted Wang Lin as should and said, "What damn Four Divine Sect? Once Qing Lin awakens, the four of us will rule the stars and enjoy ourselves." Wang Lin bitterly smiled and nodded. Wang Wei let out a sigh and slowly said, "Master once said that the heavenly Tao blood was an ominous thing. If the person who swallowed it didn't die, their personality would definitely change greatly. I had met the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor once before, and he was a straightforward man. Looking at him today, I presume devouring that blood has made his temperament gloomy. Although he was anxious and worried due to the collapse of the Rain Celestial Realm and that they couldn't find the temple, he didn't rush Wang Lin." Wang Lin let out a long sigh. He knew that with the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's words, Wang Lin had no more connections with the Four Divine Sect. If there were any, it would be his gratitude toward the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. Wang Lin raised his head and looked at the distance. He knelt down on the ground and kowtowed 3 times toward the Rain Celestial Realm gate. "Old Divine Emperor Jr. will remember your kindness, and one dare to forget it. If the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect face difficulties in the future, even if I die, I'll lend a hand." Wang Lin raised his head, and the image of the old Divine Emperor appeared. His kind and exhausted expression was engraved in Wang Lin's heart. If the pressure is too large, if the Four Divine Sect has no hope of returning to its former glory, if the heavens really want to destroy my Four Divine Sect, well, then there is no need to force yourself. The old Divine Emperor's last words echoed in Wang Lin's ears. He silently stood up and took a deep breath. He then looked at Wang Wei and Hu Huan and calmly said, "Seniors, let us look for the temple." Aside from Wang Wei, Hu Huan, and Situnan, there was also the silver female corpse. She stood beside Wang Lin and silently followed. Wang Lin, Hu Huan was, after all, a woman, and she had taken what just happened to heart. She knew Wang Lin must have been feeling very complicated right now. "No problem." Wang Lin smiled to hide the melancholy in his heart. Wang Wei nodded and flew off the platform. Hu Huan looked at Wang Lin before following Wang Wei. Situnan walked near Wang Lin and patted his shoulder. The two of them flew off together. As for the silver female corpse, she continued to follow Wang Lin. The collapse of the Rain Celestial Realm continued, and along the way they could see fragments collapsing. Some of the fragments had already completely collapsed and formed vortexes that pulled in the debris. Thunderous rumbles echoed, but it didn't affect their speed. Since the Rain Celestial Realm was already collapsing, there was no need to hold back. They moved at full speed and were like bolts of lightning moving across the sky. While Wang Wei flew, his eyes lit up and he looked for the place in his memories as he flew between the collapsing fragments. After 15 minutes, his eyes narrowed. "This should be the place," Wang Wei pointed down. Wang Lin looked down. But he was surprised. Although this place was collapsing, he could still vaguely see a landmass down there. If that was it wouldn't surprise Wang Lin, but this was where Zhou Yi had burned his soul to battle Sun Tai. The Rain Celestial Realm collapsed into countless fragments, and some of them overlapped. The temple should be in this overlapping fragment, Wang Wei explained as his right hand pressed down. A green mist suddenly appeared and charged down. It immediately swept away the debris below, creating a slight rumble. The overlapping fragments below were revealed. The group didn't pause and landed on the fragment. This fragment was also collapsing, and they could feel it trembling. If they spread out their divine senses, they could see the edges of the fragment falling apart. The amount of cracks on the ground increased and deepened as the trembling continued. There isn't much time. If the entire Rain Celestial Realm collapses, a huge vortex will form and suck everything in. Wang Wei stomped with his right foot and all the earth around him shattered. Large amounts of rocks scattered in all directions. Everyone began to descend through the shattered fragment, and what appeared before them was another fragment that was overlapping with the previous one. This place wasn't big, and the collapse hadn't affected this place yet, so the trembling lessened. However, after scanning this place with his divine sense, Wang Wei didn't find the temple. There are obviously more fragments below. He stomped his right foot once more, and fragment rumbled and began to collapse like the previous one. However, just at this moment, Wang Wei's expression changed greatly, and he waved his sleeves to take everyone and retreat. The moment they retreated, the ground where Wang Wei had stomped cracked but didn't shatter. Soon the crack caved in, and a huge vortex appeared below. The vortex was completely black, but everyone could see through the vortex and see that the fragment below had completely shattered. However, there was a completely green temple that wasn't damaged at all, and was floating in the void. This green temple was very eye-catching in the void. The Rain Celestial Realm Temple. Wang Wei's eyes narrowed, and he immediately flew out toward the vortex. Everyone else followed. Wang Lin stared intently at the green temple inside the vortex. In almost an instant, they charged into the vortex. Wang Lin immediately felt a powerful suction coming from it. If it was before, he would have been in a bad state, and would need Wang Wei's help. However, a flame appeared in his left eye and fire surrounded his body, allowing him to break free from the vortex, and he flew toward the green temple. The remaining people all got out of the vortex and headed for the green temple. There was excitement in Wang Wei's eyes. He had waited far too long for this day. The floating speed of the green temple naturally couldn't compare to their flying speed, so everyone soon caught up. As Wang Lin floated beside the green temple, his mind couldn't help but tremble. Although this temple wasn't very big, the green light gave off a powerful pressure. The fancy Qing above the door gave off an oppressive feeling. Wang Wei took a step and arrived before the temple. He pushed with his right hand and the door slowly opened. A green light came out from the door and lit up the void. The entire void was dyed green by this light. When the door of the temple opened, Wang Lin immediately walked in. The entire temple was empty aside from a formation on the ground that was flashing green. Wang Wei's expression became very excited as he looked around before looking at the formation on the ground. The moment Hu Wan came in, she stood next to the formation and began studying it. After looking at it for a while, her expression changed. I have never seen this kind of formation. This formation has the effect to reverse the soul and allow your soul to leave your body. Wang Lin also looked at the formation and slowly said, "Take out Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's body." Wang Wei's right hand reached out at the void, and a crack appeared before him. Qing Lin's body slowly flew out. He was still covered in that black armor, but there was a blood-red dot between his eyebrows. Qing Lin's eyes were closed, and he didn't make a sound. Wishing for the like button for the VIDEO, hoping to double the likes on the VIDEO. In the meantime, everyone, throw your spare ones here. Chapter. Wang Wei carefully placed Qing Lin's body in the center of the formation as per Hu Huan's instruction before looking at Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't waste time. He opened his storage space. Qing Shuang's body flew out, followed shortly by a yellow crystal. Hu Huan quickly said, "Place Qing Shuang's body so their heads touch." The moment she spoke, Wang Lin placed Qing Shuang's body across from Qing Lin. The father and daughter were placed in a line with their heads toward each other. Just at this moment, The crystal that flew out with Qing Shuang's body seemed to move by itself and landed between their heads. It released a burst of green light and fused with the green light coming from the formation on the ground. The green light lit up the whole area. Wang Wei and Hu Huan looked at each other and sat down next to Qing Lin's body. Wang Lin didn't need to wait for them to tell him what to do. With his understanding of restrictions, he was also able to see some clues. We're still missing one person. Let Zhou Yi be the one since he is related to Qing Shuai. Wang Wei suppressed the excitement in his heart as he raised his hand and grasped at the air. A crack opened to his storage space, and a ray of sword energy flew out and became Zhou Yi. After Zhou Yi appeared, he looked at Qing Shuang with a gentle gaze. He sat down next to Qing Shuang after listening to Wang Wei's order, but his gaze never left Qing Shuang. Hu Huan bit her lower lip and softly said, "Let us start." She was very nervous as they didn't have time to study this formation. She wasn't sure if they could succeed. Wang Lin nodded and then turned towards Situ Nan and the silver female corpse and said, "Situ, protect us." Situ Nan's expression also became serious, and he nodded. Rest assured. The silver female corpse didn't require Wang Lin's order. He only needed a thought and she would know his command. Hu Huan formed a seal and pointed at the formation. A ray of light landed on the crystal at the center, and then the green light shrouded everyone inside the formation. Wang Lin had taken out the crystal for Wang Wei and Hu Huan to inspect back in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect, so they were naturally familiar with it. At the same time, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed at Qing Shuang's arm. A wound appeared on her arm, and, under the pressure of origin energy, a squirt of blood shot out onto the crystal. When Zhou Yi saw this, he was unable to bear it. He looked at Wang Lin but didn't say anything. At this moment, Rain Celestial Realm Temple, the Origin Soul Crystal, and Qing Shuang's blood were all here. When the crystal absorbed Qing Shuang's blood, a red light appeared within the green light. A rumbling sound echoed, and the formation showed signs of activating. At this instant, Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and his right hand formed a seal and a flame appeared in his left eye. He pointed at Qing Lin and shouted, "Holy treasure blood, withdraw." Qing Lin's body trembled as the blood between its eyebrows began to move and immediately flew out toward Wang Lin. Without the blood seal there, black gas surrounded Qing Lin's face and devilish energy began to appear like crazy. However, the formation only rumbled but showed no signs of awakening Qing Lin. As the devilish energy increased, it seemed ancient devil Tajia was going to reappear. This scene caused Wang Wei and Hu Huan's expressions to change greatly, and Wang Lin's expression became gloomy. As for Zhou Yi, he completely ignored all of this and just silently looked at Qing Shuang. Hu Huan quickly said, "Something is wrong. We must be missing something." "What are we missing?" The veins on Wang Wei's face bulged, and the anxiety in his heart couldn't be described by words. He had all these expectations, but it was all about to fail. Hu Huan's face was pale as she looked the increasing devilish energy around Qing Lin's face and revealed a bitter smile. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy. What needed to be done had been done and all three things were here. However, at this moment, Qing Lin simply wouldn't awaken. It would be ancient devil Tajia who awakened. Staring at the crystal, ideas quickly flew through Wang Lin's head. However, in the end, he still couldn't think of what they were missing. "Qing Lin, you made us come here to save you. Now that we have everything, why is it still like this?" Wang Lin was almost gnashing his teeth. He didn't care about Qing Lin's identity at all. If the ancient devil awakened, they would all die here. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed at the holy treasure. He was going to attempt to seal the ancient devil once more. However, he didn't have the old divine emperor's cultivation level, so he wasn't confident he could seal the ancient devil. "Master, what are we missing?" Wang Wei stood up. He looked miserable and was about to go crazy. Lacking could it be the blood of someone named Wang at this moment? A faint voice came from behind Wang Lin. Wang Lin suddenly turned around. The silver female corpse had unexpectedly spoken for the first time. When she saw Wang Lin look over, she immediately lowered her head. After she spoke, not only did Wang Lin look over, even Wang Wei and Hu Huan looked over. Wang Lin said, "Continue speaking." Earlier Flower Imperial Concubine said Master could enter the cave because your surname is Wang. The woman in silver's speech was rough, as if she had just learned to speak. As if lightning had struck him, Wang Lin turned around and bit his tongue to spray blood on the crystal. At the same time, the devilish energy around Qing Lin's face reached a peak. The devilish energy began forming a shadow, and ancient devil Tajia was about to awaken. However, as soon as Wang Lin's blood landed on the crystal, the red and green light shined brightly, and the crystal began to rotate. Then a powerful suction force suddenly appeared. Wang Wei and Hu Huan felt their celestial origin energy being drained. In just a few moments, they became extreme pale and weak. Wang Lin didn't have much celestial origin energy left, and it was all sucked away. The crystal shined even more brightly and directly destroyed the devilish shadow that was forming. As the celestial origin energy entered the crystal, the suction force suddenly increased. Wang Lin only felt his vision blur and immediately lost consciousness. Not only him but Wang Wei, Hu Huan, and Zhou Yi were all the same. When Wang Lin regained his senses, everything before him caused his pupils to shrink. He was in a black sea with surging waves. There was even an ocean breeze. "You've awakened!" A cold voice came from behind Wang Lin. "You." Wang Lin suddenly looked around, and what he saw made him gasp. Behind him floated a woman in clothes as white as snow. She was beautiful enough to shake one's soul and gave off a cold aura. Just standing beside her would make you feel chills. If that was it, it wouldn't have shocked Wang Lin this much, but he was far too familiar with this woman. She was Qing Lin's daughter, the Rain Celestial Realm's Celestial Lord Qing Shuang. Wang Lin subconsciously asked, "You have revived?" The woman in white coldly said, "Temporarily." Wang Lin took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He looked around and said, "This place is..." The woman in white was calm as she looked down at the black sea below and calmly said, "My father's sea of consciousness." Just at this moment, two rays of green light appeared not far away from them. Wang Wei and Hu Huan appeared from those two rays of green light. When Hu Huan saw Qing Shuang, there was a hint of excitement in her face. "Little sister Qing Shuang." Afterward, Wang Wei looked at Qing Shuang and was also startled. There was a hint of relief in his eyes, and he said, "So your soul didn't dissipate. Then, with Master's spell, you should be able to awaken once more." Qing Shuang didn't even look at Wang Wei, but she looked at Hu Huan and a smile appeared on her cold face. She softly said, "We haven't met in many years. I am happy that Big Sister was able to survive the collapse of the celestial realm." As she spoke, even more green light came from the distance, and soon Zhou Yi appeared. When he appeared, his body trembled as he looked at Qing Shuang. His gaze was filled with excitement, and he muttered, "Ting er." Qing Shuang frowned toward Zhou Yi's gaze. Her face became cold, and she coldly said, "Who are you calling Ting er?" Zhou Yi was startled, and his expression dimmed. He then bitterly shook his head. "Ting er is already gone." Qing Shuang frowned and calmly said, "I don't know how you became the new Rain Celestial Realm Sword Spirit, but since you are the Sword Spirit, I want to erase you. However, if you continue to speak nonsense, I want to let you continue to be the Sword Spirit." Zhou Yi's body trembled as if a heavy blow had landed on his chest. His face became pale, and the bitterness on his face became even stronger. However, he only softly said, "Yes." He knew that his Ting Er had already forgotten everything. Back then, it was merely a trace of soul formed from his obsession, and it had already dissipated. Right now, the person before him was Qing Shuang, not his Ting Er. However, looking at the face he accompanied for 1,000 years, he felt an unimaginable pain appeared, as if his heart was being torn apart. His body trembled uncontrollably. This kind of pain took root inside his body and sapped away all his strength. This gradually weakened him, and gradually made him unable to bear the pain. 1,000 years together, and then 1,000 years of waiting for the day she would awaken. He was less than 30 feet from Qing Shuang, but he felt as if he was very far away, even farther than the distance between life and death. There was a type of distance that wasn't life and death, and it was to be forgotten. Wang Lin frowned and was about to speak, but Zhou Yi looked at Wang Lin and shook his head. He wouldn't blame Ting Er, as he had done everything willingly. 2,000 years ago, he abandoned his sect for a corpse, which caused his teacher to become ill from anger. 1,000 years ago, he was the same, and he burned his own soul. He'd rather die than let someone else steal his Ting Er. At this moment, he was still the same. Although the Ting Er behind him was unfamiliar, although there was no chance of them being together, although there was a huge gap in their status, he was still the same Zhou Yi as 1,000 years and 2,000 years ago. Wishing for the like button for the video. Thinking nonsense. Wishing for the like button for the video. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter. Zhou Yi's bitterness landed in Xianxia's eyes, and for some reason she felt pain in her heart. However, she quickly suppressed the inexplicable pain and no longer looked at Zhou Yi. Wang Wei let out a sigh upon witnessing all of this. He already knew it would be like this, but he didn't have the heart to tell Zhou Yi. After knowing Zhou Yi for all these years, he had already believed everything Zhou Yi said. Hu Huan's heart was soft and she was about to speak. However, just at this moment, the black ocean below began to stir and waves ranged. A monstrous, devilish energy filled the world. In an instant, an endless amount of devilish energy gathered before them and formed a giant ancient devil. This ancient devil was so big it looked like it could support the world. Endless devilish energy surrounded its body and raged like roaring, angry dragons. This ancient devil was Taijia. His eyes were scarlet red, and there was a scar between his eyebrows. When devilish energy entered that scar, there was a sizzling sound. Even inside Qing Lin's sea of consciousness, you'll still all die. As Taijia roared in anger, his large hand immediately reached toward everyone. The whistling sound was heaven shaking and endless devilish energy filled the area. From afar, it looked like a black cloud was descending to devour everyone. Just at this moment, the sea surged once more and another person flew out. This person was a middle-aged man, and he was quite handsome. He had the air of a celestial and gave off pressure without even being angry. Master! The moment this person broke through the waves, Wang Wei and Hu Huan immediately became excited. Xianxia's expression softened and she respectfully said, "Father." This person was Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. He had a serious expression as he nodded at everyone and then waved his hand. A gust of wind suddenly appeared, and it turned into a storm that collided with the ancient devil's right hand. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed and the ancient devil's right hand immediately collapsed and was pushed back. However, the storm formed by Qing Lin's spell immediately disintegrated. "Qing Lin, you have already weakened to such a state. Why do you still not yield to this devil? This devil will take your body and surpass your former prestige. What's not good about us fusing?" The ancient devil roared, and his right hand returned to normal. Qing Lin didn't even look at the ancient devil and instead looked at Wang Lin. His gaze seemed to contain some kind of law that allowed him to see through all of Wang Lin's secrets. Under this gaze, Wang Lin felt naked and couldn't even think. Just at this moment, a familiar aura appeared from between Wang Lin's eyebrows, and that feeling of being seen through disappeared. Wang Lin calmly looked at Qing Lin. "You are qualified to obtain my inheritance and become my last disciple." Qing Lin's eyes lit up, and he turned into a ray of green light. Before Wang Lin could even react, he had charged into Wang Lin's body. In an instant, popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body, then his arms stretched open and he floated into the air. The pain from his body made Wang Lin roar. "Your soul isn't weak." Qing Lin's voice came from Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin could clearly feel that his body was not being controlled by him. He had only experienced this once in his life. It was when the scattered devil had used his body to battle. However, this feeling was several times more intense than before. It couldn't even compare. The tearing feeling coming from inside his body made Wang Lin feel as if he was being constantly stretched. "Just your cultivation is lacking." Qing Lin's voice echoed once more. Wang Lin's right hand pointed at Wang Wei. "Wang Wei, teacher needs your cultivation." Wang Wei nodded. He didn't hesitate to turn into a ray of light and charge into Wang Lin's body. The pain increased and Wang Lin couldn't help but roar once more. "Hu Huan, Jing Shuang, and you, Wang Lin's body trembled, but his right hand was very steady as he pointed at Zhou Yi last. All of you, fuse in. As Qing Lin's voice echoed, Hu Wan, Qing Shuang, and Zhou Yi didn't hesitate to turn into rays of light and charge into Wang Lin's body. At this moment, the intense pain was enough to almost make Wang Lin go crazy. His roar was earth-shattering. I want T take over your body. I'll give you strength, give you my understanding of law, and give you all my celestial spells to let you experience for yourself a battle at the Nirvana Void level. This is the fortune I am giving you for coming here to save this old man. Qing Lin's body gradually dissipated, and the moment it completely dissipated, an unimaginable power erupted from Wang Lin's body. This power was strong enough to make the heavens and earth tremble. It was strong to collapse the universe. What do Nirvana Shatterer cultivators even count as? It felt as if just one thought was enough to erase them and one word AWS enough to make them yield at your feet. A feeling that he could control the world and even the world must yield under his feet rapidly grew in Wang Lin's heart. The intense pain continued to come from his body, but Wang Lin no longer paid any attention to it all. He clearly felt a power that he couldn't even imagine belonging to him. Go battle, an ancient voice seemed to echo in his mind. Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and stared at the ancient devil in the distance. Ancient devil Tajia stared dumbfoundedly at all of this, and fear filled his eyes. He had finally seen Qing Lin's ace, and it was unexpectedly to pass down his Tao. The heavens have a Tao and everyone cultivates their own Tao. One can teach one's own Tao to many as if they were teaching the heavens Tao. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he pointed at the sky and slowly said, the earth. After he spoke, the sea of consciousness surged, and the power of law tore through everything, including the ocean. In the blink of an eye, this place became a yellow desert. Ancient devil Taijia's expression changed once more. He suppressed the fear in his eyes and let out a roar as he clawed at Wang Lin with both his hands. A black wind immediately appeared and formed whirlwinds on all sides that condensed toward Wang Lin. At the same time, ancient devil Taijia began chanting in the language of the ancient order. Then his right hand reached at the void, and a 1,000 feet black blade appeared. He immediately threw it at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was still calm as he pointed forward. The black whirlwinds coming at him all stopped. Even the devilish blade also floated motionlessly in the air. Call the wind. Wang Lin calmly spoke and the world trembled. The black fog disappeared and was replaced by black wind. There were shadows of dragons within the black wind, and there were in T9, but 13 black dragons rushed out and charged at ancient devil Tajia. The momentum caused Tajia to retreat. The 8 stars in his eye rotated, and he began chanting in the language of the ancient order. Ancient devil Tajia's expression was very serious as he roared, ancient devil spell, boundary. His right hand formed a seal and waved, causing black lines to appear before him. At this moment, the black lines became a boundary, and the area inside and outside were like 2 different realms. No spell from outside the realm could get past this boundary. Ancient devil spell Heaven Devour. After using the boundary spell, ancient devil Tajia roared once more. The devilish energy formed a giant mouth behind Tajia, and it charged forward, devouring everything in its path. This mouth was as big as the world. It was as if it would devour the world in one bite. However, none of this caused Wang Lin's expression to change at all. The 13 black dragons flying at Tajia interlocked and unexpectedly turned into a black spear. This spear was completely black, and it gave off bursts of celestial spiritual energy and shot at Tajia. When Teacher Bai Fan's spell is cultivated to the limit, it can be turned into Teacher's treasure. After Teacher created each of his famous spells, he spent a great deal of effort to refine a treasure into the law of the world. From then on, any disciple who could cultivate the spell to its limit could summon the treasure to increase the power of their spell. Wang Lin had no memories of the words that appeared in his head, but this voice belonged to Qing Shui. Qing Shui had obviously intended for the seal to release once Wang Lin had cultivated a spell to its peak. The black spear immediately touched the mouth, then a heaven-shaking rumble echoed. The heaven-devouring mouth was pierced through and collapsed into countless strands of devilish energy. It could devour the world, but it couldn't devour the spell Wang Lin had created with the temporary cultivation he possessed. Forget Tajia, even Bai Fan would have been shocked by the 13 dragons. After all, even Bai Fan could only summon 11. After breaking the heaven-devouring spell, the black spear collided with the boundary, causing the world to tremble. Crackling sounds came from the black line, and then it collapsed. This spell could divide the area into two realms and stop all spells. But if one's cultivation level was high enough, there were no boundaries. The black spear went into Xianxia's body but didn't pierce through. Instead, it exploded, creating an unimaginable impact that caused ancient devil Xianxia's body to disintegrate. The endless devilish energy retreated and reformed Xianxia's body. However, the fear in his eyes became even stronger. He turned around to flee. But how could Wang Lin let him escape? He calmly walked forward and slowly said, "You can escape. Everything has just begun. Now let me experience some real third-step spells." As Xianxia was escaping, he felt like he had run into a wall of steel. He could feel that the surrounding law had fused with the sea to form a perfect cage. He indeed couldn't escape. He suddenly turned around and madness filled his eyes. Out of the 8 ancient devil stars in his eyes, 3 of them immediately collapsed. Wishing for the like button for the video, hoping to charge through the trending charts for the video this month. Chapter 1118, Ancient Devil Dao Mark. Ancient Devil Shattered Star, and powerful devilish energy surged out from Xianxia's eyes when the stars shattered. In the blink of an eye, devilish energy filled Qing Lin's sea of consciousness. The devilish energy formed a vortex with Xianxia at the center. The desert on the ground trembled and was moved by the suction force. Even Wang Lin's clothes were pulled by the suction and flapped in the wind. However, his white hair didn't move at all. His calm eyes coldly looked at ancient devil Xianxia. Wang Lin didn't stop Xianxia from shattering his stars. Qin Lin had gathered Wang Wei, Hu Wan, Xianxia, and Zhou Yi's power, along with his own cultivation, to give Wang Lin this once-in-a-lifetime chance. Wang Lin had never thought about obtaining this fortune. He would forever cherish this, and he needed to fight to gain enlightenment. The more he became enlightened, the more benefits he would gain. This kind of opportunity could be hoped for but not asked for. It was very fleeting. What Wang Lin would gain depended on his understanding of Tao and luck. This was why he wouldn't allow this battle to end quickly. The stronger ancient devil Xianxia was, and the more desperate he felt, the more Wang Lin would gain in the fight. At this moment, after shattering 3 stars and devilish energy filling Xianxia's body, his body unexpectedly shrank. However, as his body shrank, it became more condensed and almost become corporeal. Xianxia had devoured ancient demon Beilu and also 3 ancient devils of the same clan. I am using my devil shadow as a primer to refine my anger, sadness, envy, and greed into a powerful spell of my ancient devil clan. Ancient Xianxia's body floated up and was surrounded by devilish energy. The devilish energy was like the howling wind that swept across the world. Ancient devil heavenly Tao, 4 desire finger, Xianxia's eyes shined and contained a monstrous anger. This anger quickly turned into endless sadness, but it soon turned into mad envy. And then it turned into greed that could devour the world. These 4 emotions rapidly flashed through ancient devil Xianxia's eyes and caused his right hand to rise. As his right hand rose, 4 strands of devilish energy came out of his eyes and entered his hand. He then mercilessly pointed at Wang Lin. The 4 strands of devilish energy fused into his finger and formed a shocking black light. It didn't shoot at Wang Lin but gathered at Xianxia's fingertip. The moment the black light appeared, it was as if it was going to tear the world apart. The earth rumbled and the desert Wang Lin had summoned became twisted, as if it was going to collapse. Xianxia's eyes were completely red as he stepped forward, and his left hand pointed at the sky. He shouted, "The heavens' wrath! Anyone who dares to rebel against the heavens will suffer the heavens' wrath. My ancient devil clan's 9 desire finger absorbs this wrath and uses it to resist the heavens' Tao." After he spoke, a thunderous rumble appeared, and red gas appeared in the sky and started gathering toward the black light. In the blink of an eye, the red gas fused with the black light and caused it to intensify. In an instant, this black light covered a small portion of the world. The heavens have sadness, and this sadness is desire. Absorb this sadness to complete my ancient devil spell. As this roar echoed, endless blue gas appeared and quickly condensed into the black light. The heavens envy the elite. Anyone who can reach the heavens will be envied by heaven. The heavens is greedy for all the changes in the world. It is greedy for everything in the world to be its own. I, ancient devil Tajia, command the heavens' anger, sadness, envy, and greed to fuse for my clan S4 desire finger. As Tajia roared, he took a step forward. The black light at this fingertip covered the world, and he pointed at Wang Lin. In an instant, the power of the heavens appeared above Wang Lin and formed 4 storms that descended from the sky. They instantly grew as tall as the heavens and came from Wang Lin, formed 4 different directions. This spell is indeed not ordinary. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand, and rain suddenly appeared around him. This rain almost formed a flowing river. They didn't look large, but every drop of rain was like its own world. Every realm was a world where rain fell like a waterfall. These raindrops circled Wang Lin and continued to condense while the 4 storms closed in. The number of raindrops decreased until all of them fused into 1 drop of rain. This was a crystal-like raindrop. It was crystal clear and shined brightly. This drop of rain was the limit of Summon the Rain, but not Wang Lin's limit. Just like how Call the Wind had exceeded Bai Fan's ability and summoned 13 black dragons, this drop of rain compressed once more. Popping sounds as loud as thunderous roars echoed, and the raindrop condensed once more. With a bang, it unexpectedly turned into invisible water vapor. Although this water vapor was invisible, one could clearly feel its existence. Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the water vapor spread out with Wang Lin as the center. It seemed to form 4 identical sharp swords that charged at the storms. In the blink of an eye, the swords collided with the 4 storms. Then a thunderous rumble echoed, and the 4 storms shattered. At this moment, the world trembled and the desert became twisted until it collapsed. The Black Sea returned once more. As Wang Lin floated above the sea, his right hand formed a seal and drew an arc. The remaining water vapor gathered and formed 4 blue, sharp swords. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as his right hand grasped, causing a rumble, and the 4 swords collapsed and turned into 8. Then they collapsed once more, and this continued until there were 128 swords. With a wave of his hand, the swords flew at ancient devil Tajia. All of this happened very smoothly, and Wang Lin looked very casual while doing it. But all of this caused ancient devil Tajia's fear to reach its limit. He didn't think his 4 desire finger could be broken just like this. Seeing the 128 blue swords charging at him, Tajia quickly retreated. Borrowing the remaining devilish energy from his 3 shattered stars, he let out a roar, and his hands quickly formed seals. There was hint of madness in his eyes. I use my ancient devil soul to call the ancient devil Dao Path.